Ding dong, maverick on high. Magic Mike's bells are ringing. Ding dong, Shazam in the sky. And Spider-Man is swinging.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 2 free View Cinema tickets a month and Paramount Plus. Sky Cinema.
10 movies made Christmas.
That's good value.
Sky TV contract and Paramount Plus setup required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. Buy or sell your vehicle the simple way. Visit them online today. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Jim Duffy and Gordon Dalziel are catching their breath after a breathless second half in Perth. Celtic won by 3-1, but it was looking a bit ropey up until the break, and then a complete turnaround, you have to say. Very comfortable in the second half, and then even at the end St Johnstone might have snatched an equaliser, but only before Celtic went up and grabbed a third. So it was quite the end to that one. We do sometimes open the phones early on a Sunday because the games are stretched out a bit. So Celtic fans, if you've got any thoughts on that game, now would be the time to share them. 0141 951 1025. But we do have 2 big games at 3 o'clock, and the psychology of it all, Roger Hannah, means Rangers fans who maybe started their journey thinking they could gain ground today, and memories of having passed up that chance last week, now know they need to just try and claw it back to where it was before the day started.
Yeah, 100%, God. I think the Rangers fans is thinking the lead could be cut as little as 5 points by the close of play tonight. But as they kick off at 3 o'clock against St.Mirren, it will start at 11, with Rangers playing the first of 2 games in hand this afternoon. So, as we said earlier on, huge month for Philippe Clement. He's got league games against St Mirren here today. They go to Tynecastle on Wednesday night. They then get Dundee here on Saturday. They've got to go to Seville, and they now need to get a result, possibly a win against Real Betis to get through in the Europa League. They've then to come home for a League Cup final against Aberdeen at Hampden, and of course before the month's out is to go to Celtic Park. So Clement will expect nothing short of victory against 4th place St Mirren this afternoon, get it down to 8 points again, how he started the day, and then he'll move on from there.
Yeah, of course, that's the way of it in this city, and he dare not lose. I don't think St Mirren go to Ibrox today in great shape, but I thought that Aris Limassol would arrive at Ibrox and be easily taken care of on Thursday night. Look what happened there. So the team selection puts Dessers in front of the Rangers fans. He's hardly their favourite player, but Clement has given him a chance to redeem himself. The whole Cantwell saga has finally come to an end, and he gets his game and everybody can sleep easy at night. But Rangers have to get the win now. Celtic may not have been at their dazzling best. They may have taken an hour to come to life, but they have scored 3 magnificent goals in Perth. They have strengthened their lead at the top, and it's up to Rangers to respond.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Hannah, so much intrigue around the team selection because of that Todd Cantwell situation during the week. What do you read into what's been chosen today?
Well, listen, there are a few of the changes. I think Dessers is in because Danilo has played a lot of football lately. I think Philippe Clement will use his resources through the month. He's already indicated that. The one thing that did stand out for me, Gordon, he was getting quizzed on Thursday night about keeping both Lundstrom and Cifuentes, 2 holding midfield players, if you like, keeping them both on really throughout the game against Aris, and he was a bit prickly when asked about that, asking the interviewer if he thought that, are you accusing us of being too defensive? And then all of a sudden this afternoon he's only starting with Lundstrom. It's an attacking side other than Lundstrom who will hold. He's got Cantwell, he's got Lawrence either side of him, and then McCausland, Dessers and Seema. So you just wonder if Philippe Clement has reflected on what he saw on Thursday night, what he saw at Pittodrie last weekend, and has decided maybe just to let the handbrake off a little bit more this afternoon.
Is there now an extra pressure or an extra onus on Todd Cantwell to go in and now show that the clamour from many Rangers fans for him to not only play but play in his right position, that's justified?
Well, a few Rangers fans the other night were asking why it wasn't Lammers taken off or it wasn't Cifuentes taken off, and those who follow Todd Cantwell were saying, well, he's played in the wrong position, you can't ask him to play wide right and go outside the player, that's not his game at all. Well, if that's the case, he can't have any complaints about where he's going to be deployed this afternoon, because it looks as if he's going to be in the right of a midfield three. The width will come from McCausland on that side of the pitch, the width will come from Tavernier as well, of course, on that side of the pitch, so he will have a more central beat, if you like, to get on the ball, to go either way. He'll be asked to get up in support of Dessers, I would think. And you asked at the start, Gordon, there, what's the psychology after Celtic coming from behind to win? You're interested to see what the psychology is for Todd Cantwell after being hooked after 35 minutes and enduring that. Don't know whether you call it an embarrassment or a humiliation coming off so early in a big European game. What's his psychology? Does he feel he has a point to prove to Philippe Clement, a point to prove to the supporters, or a point to prove to himself?
Yeah, I mean, right throughout the team there's interesting decisions. The centre back one is not interesting in that it's controversial. It's quite obvious that it was going to happen. The two first choice, if you like, being restored, Roger, but there were moments at Pittodrie last week that Connor Goldson and Leon Balogun didn't cover themselves in glory either, so it's not been a vintage week for either pairing.
You're absolutely correct, and even before Bojan Miovski scored that goal at Aberdeen 7 days ago, Esther Sokler should have scored a goal, and you're right, for a while Goldson and Balogun did not look comfortable at all. Then it becomes Suter and Davis on Thursday night, and they lost a poor goal as well, it has to be said. So as you say, no surprise that Goldson and Balogun are restored this afternoon. They have emerged as Philippe Clement's preferred pairing, and I think they might have a hands full as well. Jonah Ayunga's back fit again for St Mirren, and it's a reasonably offensive lineup from Stephen Robinson. You know, he's pushing on Conor McMenamin on one side of Ayunga, Greg Kiltie will go the other side of Ayunga, and I was actually talking to both Mark O'Hara, the skipper, and Caelan Boyd-Munce at St Mirren's training ground on Thursday, and they were in reasonably bullish form that they believe they can come here and go toe-to-toe with Rangers. They won't park the bus and have 11 behind the ball. They believe they've got the quality that they can take on Rangers in a fair contest, so this will be a fascinating game.
Yeah, I mean, the blistering start to the season's maybe tailed off a little bit. They obviously went to Ibrox earlier this season, didn't they? And lost. No, sorry, they played in Paisley earlier this season and Rangers won 3-0, but that was the game Ryan Strain was sent off early on, and maybe can't read too much into it. Where will the main confidence come from for St Mirren then that they can cause an upset?
I think really just the way they've played this season, as you say, you know, that Stephen Robertson's got a reasonably small squad, but they always seem, you know, to have great belief, not just that they can get results, but that they can play as well. And I think they will come here and play. You look at the middle of the park, you know, O'Hara and Boyd-Munce are both comfortable on the ball. I mentioned the front three there. They'll have Scott Tanser going up that left-hand side as well. So I don't think they'll sit in. As we said earlier, they don't have a great record here. 1991, I think Graham Souness was still the Rangers manager when Kevin McGowan scored that goal for St Mirren's last victory here. They had a team of Paul Lambert, Chick Charnley and Roy Aitken back in those days, so that sort of tells you how long it's been since St Mirren got away with 3 points here, but they'll certainly try and make a game of it.
Yeah, lots to look forward to in that one, Gordon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I watched St Mirren against Hibs not that long ago. They're starting to just... They're leaking too many goals for me. I think there's got to be a big task today. The one thing about the manager, he's got them well organised. They work very hard as a unit. But if I think if Rangers play to their capabilities today, get an early goal, I think it'll be a comfortable afternoon for them. I've got to say,
the stardust has turned to coal dust. You know, the last 5 games, 3 defeats, 1 draw, 1 win. So you know they get plenty of plaudits at the start of the season, but they've slipped into a rut.
That's 4 points out of those games. It's not a fully blown rut, is it?
Well,
I mean, they're still fourth.
Well, you can put it another way: 1 win in the last 5 games. Then you're talking about a team who they're going to Ibrox, and they're not in the best of shape. Having said that, Rangers are not in the best of shape either, following on from the performance against Aberdeen and Aris Limassol. But we all know the way the city works. The lead is there for Celtic, 11 points. We know about games in hand, but they've yet to be played. Rangers, like Celtic at 12 o'clock today, Rangers cannot begin to contemplate anything other than 3 points.
I must be the only person, sorry Gordon, I must be the only person. I watched the Aberdeen game, and as much as they gave up a terrible goal, after about 30 minutes, I thought Rangers actually.
Oh, they deserved to win it, didn't they? In terms of chances
dominated
created.
the game, and they should have scored more goals. Now, I do take on board, I thought they were really below par the other night there. McCausland come on, gave them that burst. But as far as today's concerned, I think if they go about their business the right way, Cantwell in that right position, McCausland I think gives them so much as a young kid. I think they will have more than enough to turn over St Mirren.
Yeah, I think St Mirren, sitting fourth just now is a really good position. It's just the fact is that they started so well. If you would have said to St Mirren come December you'd be sitting fourth, they would have been delighted. They've been hand off you all day long. And I think when I seen St Mirren at Celtic, they had a kind of specific way of playing, and but they kept true up pitch. When Roger's saying there that they feel as if they might have a wee go, they kept true up the pitch even when Celtic were attacking, to try and keep the defenders back a little bit, try and give themselves an option of getting out. It'll be interesting to see if they do that at Ibrox. I think more interesting from the Rangers perspective is the team selection. I think Dessers coming in, he didn't even come off the bench. I mean, during the last couple of games Danilo's been struggling a wee bit,
and Rangers have needed a goal,
and Dessers hasn't been anywhere to be seen, hasn't even took the jacket off, and now he's starting. So that for me is a real test for him today, to see. We were talking earlier on about recruitment, from both of the clubs, whether it's been, how much of an impact they've made. Well, Dessers gets the opportunity today. Cantwell, as we've mentioned, gets the opportunity to play in his more preferred position. So Rangers have a very, very positive, attack-minded side today, but St Mirren are very, very disciplined.
Let's hear from both managers. Philippe Clement, followed by Stephen Robinson.
This is the first time that there's really like a deception that I felt it in the dressing room. They were not happy with their performance. That's a good thing that they were not happy about the performance, but now we need to stand up on Sunday and show our best level. They're gonna fight until they die, and for them, games against Rangers is one of, or maybe the biggest game of the season. So we know that.
Belief. You need belief. We've got the talent, but what we have is a group of boys that totally believe in each other, and we just looked like we didn't have a little bit of belief for certain periods. We've spoke about it, and I'm sure we'd be better for it. By no means is it an impossible task, but it's a tough ask. They've got some very good footballers, and they've got a lot of strength and depth on the bench as well. So we under no illusions of the size of the task, but we go there with the belief.
Stephen Robinson will know that. You can hear it, Roger Hanna, the size of the challenge, even if there is a wobble during the week and drop points for Rangers last week as well. I'm sure he'll remember that there have been times, a game that jumps out from last season, where St Mirren went there and did fine and hung in the game, quite the thing, and then ended up on the wrong end of a fairly heavy defeat.
Well, listen, that's what can happen. I mean, look at St Johnstone today. They led and they hung in the game for a long time and ended up losing 3-1 and potentially 4-1 to finish up, in Celtic at that last chance. So it's a 90-minute game. Nowadays, it's almost a 100-minute game, Gordon, you need to hang about for. So St Mirren will know that. They've got players on the bench who Stephen Robinson won't hesitate to put on this afternoon. But I think they will know that Rangers need 3 points. They will know from the Rangers team selection, it looks as if Philippe Clement is going a little bit more attacking than he's been seen to do in games so far, and they will feel that they have a chance of a result here this afternoon. And listen, it'll be a good contest.
Don't forget the lines are open. It's obviously a bit of a different schedule for us, though. We will take some calls very soon. So Celtic fans, sum up your feelings after McDermott Park today. 01419511025. And whilst you get them in, let's get team news ahead of Hibs against Aberdeen from Fraser Wishart. He's back from a 15-week tour around the globe. He finally graces us with his presence once again. Take it away.
Working, Gordon, always working. Cape Town, Geneva, wherever I was going, I was working. But enjoy my trips, but glad to be back into this Scottish football and a key time, of course, December for all clubs. The weather's good here, better than it is in the west. Conditions perfect, pitch looking great. Always quite an exciting game, I think, the games between these two, and always something to talk about. You remember this fixture in February led to Jim Gooden losing his job after that 6-0 defeat. Barry Robson took over temporarily, given the job full time, and Hibs have also changed managers, all of which maybe tells us that things haven't quite been right on the park for both clubs for quite some time. Nick Montgomery's come in, and I've seen a bit of an improvement. I went today would lift them into 4th, which is probably where they should be, as should Aberdeen. And a good win last week against Dundee, and in general he's played pretty positive football, old-fashioned 4-4-2, 2 attacking wingers, 2 strikers. But it's at the other end the problems has been where they've been losing too many goals. I'm sure he'll try and sort that in January. But Aberdeen made it home safely from Wintry Helsinki. Another disappointing result, I think, where clubs should be doing a bit better in Europe, but after a good performance at Pittodrie against Rangers last, and that just shows the general inconsistent form. And Aberdeen are still in 10th, unbelievable, 10 points behind Hearts in 3rd place. And I said earlier, that's where Dons should be. They should be up there challenging for 3rd place as a very minimum. So they could really do with a win. Certainly they've got exciting attacking players. Miovski, McGrath, Clarkson all start today. Duke's on the bench. They've got Sockler as well playing up front. So the fact they're so low on the table is probably worrying and confusing equally at the same time. But really looking forward to this game for the full 90 minutes. For Hibernian, they've made 2 changes since both at the full-back areas. Lewis Miller sent off last weekend is suspended, and Abita is injured, and income players at the opposite ends of the spectrum of their careers. Young Rory Whittaker just starting. His comes in right back, and experienced Lewis Stevenson at left back. David Marshall is in goals. Rory Whittaker, Will Fish, Rocky Bushiri and Lewis Stevenson at the back. In midfield, Josh Campbell, Dylan Levitt, Joe Newell and Jaya Tavares, with Martin Boyle and Dylan Vente as the strikers. Jojo Wallacott, Paul Hanlon, Ellie Ewan, James Jego, Christian Deutsch, Riley Harbottle, Alan Delafiere, Rudy Molotnikov and Josh Landers are on the bench. For Aberdeen, made so many changes during the week. I just compare them to the team against Rangers last weekend, and Ryan Duncan drops to the bench and James McGarry comes in at left wing back for the only change from that draw at Pittodrie. Kelly Roos in goals, Stefan Gatterman, Slobodan Ruzovic and Richard Jensen at the back. Across the middle, Nicky Devlin, Graham Shinney, Leighton Clarkson and James McGarry. Just ahead of them, Jamie McGrath and the 2 strikers, Esther Sockler and Bojan Miovski. Ross Duan, Conor Barron, Duke, Johnny Hayes, Dante Polvara, Ryan Duncan, Angus MacDonald, Jack Milne and Javier Gueye are on the bench, and the referee to Easter Road is Willie Collum, and the VAR referee is Ewan Anderson.
3 big games on a Sunday, lots to look forward to. 1 down and 2 to go. Remember, the phone lines sometimes open early on a Sunday, and today is one of those days. 0141 951 1025. We will speak to you next.
Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Accident not your fault? You'll be back on the road within 24 hours.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Ding dong, maverick on high, magic mic bells are ringing. Ding dong, Shazam in the sky, and Spider-Man is swinging.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 2 free View Cinema tickets a month and Paramount Plus. Sky Cinema.
Movies made Christmas.
That's good value.
Sky TV contract and Paramount Plus setup required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? Go! To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Big day of football in the Scottish Premiership. 1 game of 3 already done. Celtic surviving a really poor first half to come back, storm back really to win 3-1 in the second half. So 3 points back down the road over to Rangers to respond. We've given you team news from Ibrox, some very interesting calls. Todd Cantwell plays, Tom Lawrence plays, Dessers is in place of Danilo, no Sam Lammers. The 2 centre backs are back in as well, so interesting team news there. Hibs against Aberdeen as well. Fraser Wishart is watching on at Easter Road. We do often open the phone lines early on a Sunday because there's a bit of time to kill in between the two games. So let's hear from Paul, who's a Celtic fan. How would you sum that up today, Paul?
Well, I think we just have to. I've seen it a few times about a bit of perspective and a bit of respect, I think, for Brendan Rodgers, to be honest with you. He brings on James Forrest and before that Mikey Johnson, two players that I think that he used the first time round to change the game. I don't think you can lay Yang and Palmer at his door as signings that he made in the summer. And I thought what he did.
He does deny that though, Paul. You know, the AGM, he said he had a big hand in all the transfers. So we've kind of got a decision to make there, don't we? To either portray Brendan Rodgers as a liar or give him a bit of criticism for it.
Yeah, but I know. But even if he did, though, so is he now going to be judged on guys that are a couple of months into the country that have actually done pretty well? You know, I always like to make comparisons with Rangers, but Celtic spent the same amount of money on these guys as Lammers and Dessers.
Yeah, but before we worry about Rangers, Yang has not done pretty well, has he?
He's still a young boy.
Again, and that's totally fine. And you can say I'm not going to judge him yet, and I think I'll give him time. But you can't then say he's done well. That's an entirely different thing. You've gone the other way.
Well, he's only in the team because maybe Maid is out. You know, and again, he's actually looked better in the European games. But I just think the whole narrative around Brendan Rodgers and the negativity is just uncalled for. The guy's not lost a league game yet. And the whole, we just seem to be very, very quick to criticise at a very early stage of the season.
Paul, I have to tell you that on television at the end of the game, Brendan Rodgers said that Celtic's performance in the first half at Perth left him feeling the angriest he has ever been as a manager. Not just as the manager of Celtic, the angriest he has ever been as a manager. Leicester City, Liverpool, the lot. So there's no one criticising Brendan Rodgers here. What we're telling you is that Brendan Rodgers knows what he's looking at, and he thought the first half was utterly dreadful. And to go back to Gordon Duncan's point about who do we believe here, I am still of the opinion that Brendan Rodgers is diplomatic when he speaks about the transfers. Otherwise, I am supposed to believe that Liger Bielka and Nawrocki were brought in at £7.5 million by Brendan Rodgers, who then, about a fortnight later, decided they were no use to him whatsoever. However, the point about today, Celtic got there in the end with 3 magnificent goals and a tremendous twist of fate, which saw the goalkeeper go from 0, where the St Johnstone goal was concerned, to hero, where he prevented it from being 2-2, and Celtic went to the other end of the park and won the game. They're getting there, Paul, but they're getting there with a bit of a struggle at times.
You there, Gordon?
Yes, on you go, Paul.
Can I come back? Yeah, well it's either one or two things. Either the leagues are hard to win because teams make it difficult, or, you know, if you look at Man City in England, they're just running over the top of teams down there. So you're not going to get it all your own way. And I think there's no doubt some players have went back the way. Kyogo looks a bit lost in the formation. Alistair Johnson has went back the way, and Greg Taylor, I know he's always a whipping boy, but he just does look ordinary at times. So I'm not saying there aren't issues, but he brings on James Forrest and Mikey Johnson, and you know I'm really on to sort of brag about Mikey Johnson, Gordon, because you know I'm a big fan. But you know, these guys again still have their place in that squad. They still have their place at the football club, and you know that's down to Brendan Rodgers' management, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no doubt the Mikey Johnson sub today works, Jim. Yet we said at half time Yang simply had to come off for Mikey Johnson or someone else. It's been interesting to see if he can kick on from this, because it was a real impact he made, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Paul, it's probably like a lot of fans. There's a division there. You know, some Celtic fans, and quite a lot of them, don't think Mikey Johnson's good enough to you know, be a regular part of the Celtic first team. Others have probably a different opinion, like Paul, who think he can make a contribution You've got both sides of it. You mentioned Johnson and Taylor not maybe being as productive as they were last season. So is that down to the change of system, the change of shape slightly, or the way the approach of the game, or is that just the fact that they've just something dropped a level? But overall, I think on today you have to credit Brendan Rodgers for making the changes, for changing the shape, and for rattling the cages at half time. I mean, as Hugh said, he said he was angry. You don't kind of get that impression of Brendan Rodgers really giving it a bit of the hairdryer treatment. But I think the Celtic players today probably had to take that, and they responded to it. That's the key thing. You can only works if the players respond to it, and the Celtic players did respond, because they came out the second half with a different approach, a different mentality, a strength of character, and real quality goals.
To go public with a statement like the angriest I've ever felt as a manager is a good thing, because it's truthful. You're not attempting to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. You're telling the supporters that first half performance was hopeless. And
I don't think he is pulling the wool over anybody's eyes.
I just said he's not attempting to pull the wool over anybody's eyes.
It was quite easy for Brendan Rodgers to come out to the end of the game and say that's the most angriest I've ever been. They won the game 3-1. They were terrible first half. I think everybody agrees with that. They were off the pace. They conceded a poor goal. Where I think you've got to look at it in the bigger picture, second half, Mikey Johnson gave them a spark. Gave them a spark. The change of formation gave them a spark. There was a time when we were all discussing there was a case for anybody to be taken off that pitch. All of a sudden McGregor stands up, and I think he received the man of the match. So in the second half, you could tell it was always coming. They moved the ball quicker. They get into better positions. You're going up to Perth there today. The conditions, as Jim touched on it, we've been there, we've played in these sort of pitches. Very difficult. They made it very difficult with the formation. They sat everybody behind the ball. Celtic, I thought, second half played some real good stuff.
A lot's been said about Joe Hart's part in the first goal. Paul, is that something you subscribe to, or do you think he's getting a bit too much stick as well?
No, I think Joe Hart's just always been one of these kind of eccentric goalkeepers, which obviously Guardiola wasn't going to rely on him. I mean, he pulls off a save at the end, which is worthy any goalkeeper. There obviously is an issue with, I mean, they mentioned on the TV about whether Stevie Woods has to look at the whole Greg Taylor standing in front of him. I'm not a goalkeeping coach. I think it's probably his last season as a first team coach. One of the boys in my WhatsApp saying what's happened to Seagrass. I don't know if you guys have got any light to shed on that. But if you go the other way with the whole formation, though, if Brendan Rodgers starts with James Forrest and Mikey Johnson, then you say, is the squad that thin that we're relying on players that have been here for years? Other teams would kill to have players like that in their squad. James Forrest, 15, 16 years in a row, ultimate professional, never a bit of scandal about him. Doesn't dive, doesn't he's no on TikTok. People are just great professionals. Callum McGregor, Carter Vickers, got leaders throughout the team. And I think, Brendan's got to take some credit. So if he was angry with the players, he's probably angry with some of the criticism that he's getting as well in terms of the narrative for both sides of the city. Sometimes the gap in coverage is just a bit much. Rangers just appointed
Paul, you seem a little bit obsessed about this narrative. You've used the word about 43 times. A lot of the criticism comes from Celtic fans. It's not all about the way it's been reported. You say other teams would kill to have someone like James Forrest. I'm sure most teams in Scotland would, but is it not the case that Celtic are meant to sort of set their own bar here? Celtic shouldn't really be worrying about what the other teams in Scotland do, because they win everything. They've got 70 million in the bank, and it's understandable then that fans who contribute a lot of that money just say, well, we wanted a bit more squad depth, or we wanted recruitment to be better in the summer. What's wrong with that?
Fair enough. So Lagerbielke and Navrowski, we haven't seen them yet. We don't know whether they're injured or not. We don't know whether they're great players or not. That can happen at a club. Hugh seems to be obsessed with that. He seems to be obsessed with rhyming off.
But again, Paul, that's a talking point. Your fellow Celtic fans are looking at a team that has £7-8 million worth of new defenders in it and saying, why are they not there? What is wrong with asking that question as a Celtic fan?
Mm.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah. Okay, I take the point. I just think that any time Celtic go a goal down, some of the language used, it just seems to be over the top against a guy who is, and Gordon Dalziel likes to use, the guy's an elite manager. He's doing us all a favour by coming to Scotland, and you'll then attract other great talent as a result of that. The same as they did the first time round. So,
but maybe not this summer then, is according to a lot of the Celtic fans.
I don't buy into the fact that he was involved in the summer. I don't. I mean, and maybe it's too much like instance that the guys have came for Korea, they've came for the Asian market, which was Angie's old backyard. So I'm not buying that. That might have been a line for the AGM, which is a PLC they've got to stand a bit of unity with. What he hasn't been short to say is that he is unhappy with the quality of the squad. So again, read into that what you will. I mean, as I say, players like Yang, to go in their defence a moment, Palmer and Yang are young boys coming from a strange country, a strange environment, and it is the old thing, can you do it, McDermott Park on a wet Tuesday night? This is the December equivalent, of welcome to Scottish football, and they failed miserably, okay, but what did he bring on his place? Two seasoned Celtic professionals who have had their ups and downs within the club, and then you have the leadership of O'Reilly, Carter Vickers, even Joe Hart, stepping up, and of course like McGregor. But I mean, I don't think Brendan Rodgers is fooled. I don't expect it all to be solved in the January transfer window, and I think the criticism we had about Europe. I think you wait till next year and see if it's a proper Brendan Rodgers squad then.
Let's ask John for his take on it. Thank you to Paul. John, what stood out for you today?
Well, the first half was abysmal, mate. He just rolled on for last week at Parkhead. The goal was a carbon copy. The D's goal was a carbon copy last week. Hart coming out for the ball. I call him Dracula. His feet across is our boy. And as I say, see any walk of life you'll get a job. If I don't do my job, I get suspended. Or something happens to him. And that first 11, nothing happens to them. They can make a mistake week in, week out, nothing happens to them. I can't wait January. I keep saying that. It's going to be a long 5 weeks to January, the way we're playing. We got a jelly day, alright, great goals, but you can see the way Rodgers was talking today. He was absolutely going to have to not with that first half performance.
Good save from Joe Hart at the end to win the game, though.
But it cost the first goal. It cost the goal last week. It cost us 2 points last week at Parkhead. That's my point tonight, mate.
We saw the best and worst of them today, Hugh. I think that's fair.
And it's a great story. Everyone loves that zero to hero, hero to zero type story. And there's no doubt that he was complicit in a tremendous twist of fate where he saved Celtic from losing a goal that would make it 2-2. They run up the end of the park, and incidentally, when I look back at the goal, James Forrest clears the ball first of all from his own penalty area and finishes up in the other penalty box to score the goal. So 10 out of 10 to James Forrest. But Celtic have to look at the goalkeeper's position. He's been a hero today, but in January they have to bring in another goalkeeper if they can, because there's a long old season to be negotiated from the 1st of January until May, and Joe Hart undoubtedly has a mistake in him every time Celtic play.
I think all goalkeepers have mistakes in them, and the problem you have these days is that goalkeepers are not judged by the saves they make. They're judged by how they link up the play, how they start the build-up play. You look at Manchester United signing, was it Oana, 60 odd million, getting absolutely pelters just now. Mary Earps, the England ladies goalkeeper, get player of the year and personality of the year, had horrendous mistake for England during the week. So goalkeepers are in that spotlight all the time. If they make a mistake and an error, it's just whether it's repetitive mistakes are similar. And I think what John's saying is right. Joe Hart made a similar mistake last week to he did today. He's not commanding enough. Speaking about the positional play, I mean, I'd mentioned that whether you get Greg Taylor on the wrong side, that's down to the manager and down to the coaching staff, and down to Joe Hart himself. He can dictate that as well, if an experienced player. So he's had a few errors in those situations. He does look a little bit uncomfortable, but he really had one key moment, and that was in the 91st minute where he pulls off a wonder save which gained Celtic the opportunity to get the third goal and wrap up all 3 points. So he made a mistake, but his concentration levels in the dying seconds, we never having a touch of the ball, Gordon, I don't think he touched the ball in the second half, were fantastic. So give credit when it's due. What a save it was in the last minute.
I disagree with John. I love John. He loves a rant. I don't think they get out of jail today, Gordon. I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at the overall picture, yes, the first half wasn't very good. I think the changes in the second half, the bit of the spark, change of formation, Celtic totally dominated the second half of that football game. Totally dominated it. Joe Hart, he's called upon to have a save. That's why he's there. He's had a good save, and Celtic capitalise on it up the pitch and put the game to bed. But for me, when the first goal came, and I said it before even the second one, I said it's either 0 today or it's 2. Unfortunately, I got it wrong. It was 3.
John, the previous Celtic fan, wanted everyone us to be a bit more positive. Doesn't think Celtic are getting the credit they deserve, but you think it was out of jail today? Should you not be a bit more fulsome in your praise of your team?
Aye, they played a great team in the second half. Aye, they played well, but as I say, it's just I keep saying there's a lot of guys in the team just not call it got it for Celtic. They're just not got it. They're just not good enough.
Thank you very much to John. A ringing endorsement there to finish us off. We will go back and build up to the 3 o'clock games next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Why call your insurance? Let Robert take away the hassle. The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Jim Duffy and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. We've got 2 games still to come. Celtic winning in Perth. We opened the phone lines early. We've said quite a bit about that game so far, and we'll continue to do so. We're going to hear from Brendan Rodgers in the not too distant future, probably Craig Levine. There will be your traditional open line, if you like, at 5 o'clock. But the truth is, it is open already. We are building up to kick off, only 15 minutes away at Ibrox. And Roger Hannah, we mentioned it earlier, the psychology swinging. The Rangers fans now know that they simply have to make sure they don't lose any ground on Celtic today in a home game against St. Mirren.
Absolutely, and Philip Clement as well, Gordon, will know it will be unacceptable for any Rangers manager to have 3 games in a week and not win any of them. When St Johnstone took that lead just before half time at Perth earlier on, Hugh was saying if it stayed 1-0 St Johnstone, Brendan Rodgers could be dealing with a crisis off the back of a home draw with Motherwell, defeat to Lazio in European elimination, and then a loss in Perth. Well, that didn't happen, but if Rangers were to go 3 games in a week without a win after those damaging draws to Aberdeen and Aris, then Philip Clement would be experiencing the toughest time of his young Rangers career. It looks as if he's going for it. Todd Cantwell starts. I can run you through his teams in a moment as well, but it looks as if it's just one holding midfielder, as we said, and a more attacking lineup for Rangers, and an attacking lineup from St Mirren as well. We do expect goals here this afternoon. We expect excitement, and the vast majority of the people inside this stadium will expect nothing short of 3 points for Rangers. They go with Jack Butler in goals, a back 4, James Tavernier the skipper, 2 centre halves recalled, Connor Goldson and Leon Balogun is in, Borna Barisic a left back, a midfield 3. Todd Cantwell does start with John Lundstram and Tom Lawrence, and then Ross McCausland, the midweek goal hero, with Cyril Dessers and Abdallah Sima on the bench. McCrory, Sterling and Suter, Davis, Ridvan and Cifuentes, Lammers, Matondo and Danilo. St Mirren of Zach Hemming in goals. The back 3, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor. Across the middle, Ryan Flynn, Mark O'Hara, Caelan Boyd Munson, Scott Tanser, and up top, Conor McMenamin, Jonah Ayunga and Greg Kelty. On the bench are Minsky, Bolton and Dunn, Small, Bacchus and Jameson, Grieve, Mandron and Olusanya. Matthew McDermott is the referee, and our VAR is John Beaton.
What about Easter Road, Fraser Wisher? It feels like most teams in the Scottish Premiership are kind of hard to sum up their season so far, one way or the other, and maybe these two are good examples. Certainly good flashes, bad flashes, lots of bits in between, but as we head into this really crucial, busy festive schedule, maybe a chance for both sides to try and put some sort of run together.
Yeah, I mean, Hibs have had a decent enough run, but a lot of draws in there. They had the defeat against Aberdeen about 4 or 5 weeks ago in the semi-final at Hampden Park, where they played really well, totally dominated the game, and then get hit by the sucker punch. I think in general, Nick Montgomery coming in has been an improvement, but he'll obviously, new manager, his first window's coming up, he might want to bring in 1 or 2 players. He certainly played attacking football. El Yuan's on the bench today, but he's been there with the likes of Benta and Boyle and Jai Tavares as well, so there's plenty of attacking options for them. But from an Aberdeen perspective, really disappointing just looking at the table, although they do have a couple of games in hand over the teams around them, but to be sitting with 13 points in 12 games I think just isn't good enough when you look at their squad. Good squad of players. Said earlier about the attacking options. Midfield Shinnie sits, but you get Clarkson and McGrath supporting Sockler and Miovski. You get Duke on the bench. Nicky Devlin's not a defender who doesn't enjoy attacking. He gets involved all the time as well. So really strange, but Barry Robson's been backed to the hilt. The three big centre backs as well come in, transfer fees, good salaries as well. So I think Aberdeen fans are rightly going to expect now, right, okay, Europe's pretty much over, one more game to play, but they're going to be out. Key period now for them in terms of the league and also the next round of the cup as well, where I'm sure Aberdeen will want to be competing. They've got a League Cup final coming up in a couple of weeks, so it could all turn within the next few weeks for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, all the way City rivalry works, we dine out on it in this city in particular, but obviously Hibs will be looking at their city rivals as well. That plays such a part in what's considered a good or a bad season, doesn't it? If they can finish above the other one, 18 points for Hibs at the moment. Hearts there on 23, so they'll be mindful of trying to keep up with Stephen Naismith's side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was at the game, it was the final game of the season last May, and Tynecastle ended up 0-0, but a win for Hibs was taking them above Hearts, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. So great rivalry there, but a win today, assuming that St Mirren won't get anything at Ibrox, just takes them a point behind St Mirren and a couple of points behind Hearts. So for a team that's not really had a good season so far, lost their manager, has heavy defeats in Europe as well, poor results in Europe in the qualification against the team from Andorra as well, might be not a bad place to be towards the end of this month as well, just on the tail or right up beside Hearts and St Mirren in that challenge for third place. I think you'll look for a couple of players in Hibernian. I do think that Montgomery has made a change to the formation. He's playing a very simple 4-4-2, but it's at the back. He'll want one or two defenders in it, I think, as well. He's constantly chopping and changing from Paul Hanlon to Rocky Bashiri beside Will Fish. The fullbacks change a lot as well, so clearly he's not happy with that side of things, and that might be something he'll look to address when we get a couple of players in January. But all in all, I think Hibs are a good team to watch. Conditions are perfect here, Gordon. The ground's filling up, decent Aberdeen away support. There's always something happening in this game on and off the pitch, so looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and I think Hibs will win that game. Nick Montgomery's having a good start to his managerial career. He's now got a couple of wins under his belt, back to back after 3 draws. I just think there's a lot about Hibs to be pleased about. I just wonder, as always, how much did that trip to Helsinki take out of Aberdeen in very, very trying conditions there. So for me, it's a Hibs win.
Yeah, I think it. I'm just sitting on the fence for that one today. I think it'll be a draw. I think Aberdeen had a fantastic result. Obviously it didn't matter that much. Get a fantastic goal as well. McDonald and again on the bench after scoring the goal. I think the 2 goal scorers are on the bench today, Duke and McDonald. But I think Aberdeen, just in terms of the way they play and the shape they play, I think although Hibs dominated the semi-final, Aberdeen nicked the win, and I think it'll be a draw today. But I do think there'll be goals. I don't think Fraser will be starved of goals. I'm going for 2-2 today at Easter Road.
I'm going with Hugh in this one, and I'm going with Jim as well. I agree there will be goals, because if you look at them so far, they're evenly matched. 21 goals conceded. Hibs have scored 5 more. They're at home. Aberdeen obviously playing midweek in Europe. I just think the Hibs are playing with a little bit more confidence, so home advantage for me. I'm going with Hugh Keevins with a Hibs win.
Kick-off getting ever closer. Roger Hannon, your game at Ibrox, some interesting quotes from Philippe Clement appearing, I think, in Rangers' own in-house media. I mean, it's fairly obvious that this is going to happen, but just feel like he's deliberately advertising the case after midweek, saying that Tom Lawrence will play a bit lower because Todd Cantwell will play in the number 10 position, just in case there was any doubt.
Well, that is interesting that Cantwell's going to play in what is really his preferred position, if you like. I think he likes to be central to everything rather than tied to one of the flanks as he was for those 35 minutes he was on Thursday evening. Tom Lawrence in a deeper role will be interesting to see. That's a role that Jose Cifuentes, of course, has been filling in the last few games with Ryan Jack and Nicholas Raskin still in the treatment table. So Lawrence deeper, I think, will be an interesting proposition. Not really what you would expect Tom Lawrence to be deployed, but Rangers with McCausland one side, Seamer the other side, and of course Daz's pal Cyril Dessers through the middle. Cantwell will need to get close to him, Cantwell will need to help him, and Cantwell will need to create for him this afternoon.
There's some Scottish football cliches you just can't move away from because they're so relevant, Roger. But you know, that notion of St Mirren trying to frustrate, trying to kind of hang in it, don't concede early, all that sort of stuff. We keep mentioning it because it's just so true, isn't it?
Well, it is true, and I'm sure the last words from Stephen Robinson will be keep it tight for 20 minutes. But if you look at his formation, it is reasonably offensive. I think Conor McMenamin, who was playing as a right wing back last week, he's been pushed further on. Greg Kiltie will be trying to get close to Jonah Ayunga as well. And St Mirren fancy them, so they should. They finished in the top 6 last season for the first time in, I think it was something like 38 years. And they're sitting 4th. Hearts went above them yesterday, but they've been third most of the season. They're still in the top 4. There's confidence and belief about Stephen Robinson's team. So yes, they will try and keep it tight early on, but they'll try and play a bit when they're here.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of focus on a number of areas. I wonder how big a day this is for Cyril Dessers as well, given another chance to lead the line. He had a few at the start of the season. They obviously have dried up of late.
Well, they have, and I think, as the boys said, you know, Rangers needed a goal at Pittodrie last Sunday. Rangers needed a goal against Aris on Thursday night, and Cyril Dessers wasn't thrown into the search for those goals, and you just wonder at times what the future might hold. Noticeable to get Day again, Nokemar Roof in the match day squad. Danilo was probably due a rest, so it is Cyril Dessers up top. Will Daz repeat his bet that if Dessers scores, he makes the coffee for the boys to the studio.
It's true, I forgot about that. I heard you claiming to Mark Wilson yesterday that your month is over. That's you. You've done your time. I think I saw you make about 2 cups of coffee in that entire month. But there we go.
Yeah, well, Mark doesn't drink a lot, but
Cyril Dessers to get in amongst the goals today.
He's not excited, mate. I've got to be honest with you. As a number 9 and you're playing with Rangers, it's all about find the back of net. And I watched him against Livingston first half, and I thought he'd played particularly well that day. He scored, and he worked hard for the team. It's a big afternoon for him. He's got an opportunity. Danilo obviously sitting on the bench, but I'm still a big convinced I don't fancy him for a goal today.
Well, that big opportunity is next, because kick-off at Ibrox and Easter Road is after these.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Run a fleet of vehicles, let Robert manage them whatever the accident. Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Kick-off about now at Ibrox and Easter Road. We've already had one game done and dusted. It was a 3-1 victory for Celtic in Perth, which means they have stretched their lead at the top to 11, and Rangers need to try and respond. You actually did there or thereabouts on your predictions today in Perth?
Yeah, thereabouts. I was 100% correct.
Bang on, so you were incredible.
Yeah.
Well, so we need to make a big deal of that, because you get enough stick when you get them wrong, which is often. But bang on, scoreline and everything today. Go on then, try and make it a double. What's happening at Rangers against St Mirren?
3-0 Rangers.
Wow, 3-0.
Hold on.
You're getting to go first this time. Sorry.
I'll go 3-0 Rangers.
I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers.
And Easter
I'll
Road?
go 2-0
Easter Road?
2-1 Hibs.
There we go. We will find out. We are underway. Stay tuned. We're going to give you all the action from Ibrox and Easter Road. The phone lines are open. We did it early, so Celtic fans, if you want to have your say on the game in Perth, do so now. 01419511025. And Rangers fans, I suppose, if you'd rather shout at the TV, shout at us, than shout at the TV, pick up that phone. Anything else that's out there, I suppose you're more than welcome. The Euro draw, we didn't really get the chance to reflect fully on that yesterday because it was so late in the day, but we could do that as the afternoon progresses. And you won't want to miss Brendan Rodgers. We have an interview with him. He was not happy with the first half performance. You're going to want to hear it, so we will bring it to you in the not too distant future. But for now, focus, Gordon, clearly at Ibrox. Philippe Clement is unbeaten as Rangers manager. But we all know the expectation levels at Rangers and Celtic for that matter, and it doesn't feel that way this week, because obviously losing points at Pittodrie is not ideal in the eyes of the Rangers fans, and then to follow up with a disappointment against Aris Limassol, it adds that extra something to today, doesn't it?
Well, when you come in and everything's rosy in the garden and everybody takes to you as a new manager and sings your praises, and then all of a sudden, you know, when the manager of Rangers a week you go up to Pittodrie. I'll keep going back to it. I thought they were very unfortunate not to get all 3 points. Thursday night I thought they were in patches very poor. He made the substitution very early, and to give him his credit, McCausland repaid him with that substitution. Thought he was a bright spark, got his goal, but they missed, as Hugh said, quite rightly said, top of the show, they missed a trick. A great opportunity to put themselves in a terrific position, but it's still in their hands. They've got to respond this afternoon. I think they will. I think they'll win this game. But as a new manager, sometimes you've just got to realise what like it is to manage a club the size of Rangers, and I'm sure this week he's certainly looked at that.
Yeah, I just think that we were talking earlier on, and we can have a wee bit of a joke about predictions, Gordon, or suggestions, should we say? I was suggesting that there's a possibility of taking Callum McGregor off in the Celtic game, and the manager leaves him on, scores, and gets a man of the match. We were looking at the Rangers line-up today. We did suggest during the week there, and particularly on Friday, I think myself and Hugh, that Todd Cantwell's got the manager get a decision. Does he play him in his preferred position? Does he have a chat with him and then play alongside him? And he's done that today. So sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. But managers are judged by the end result and the end product. And Brendan Rodgers got it right today. Can Philippe Clement get it right against St.Mirren? He's again brought Dessers in. He's put Cantwell in his preferred position. He's went with a very adventurous side. Can they come up with the quality to outwit this a very strong St Mirren side?
I'm sure he knows, Hugh, but if anyone needs to remind him, 3 games without a win in this city is just unthinkable. That's the sort of standards we tend to set.
Well, I mean, the greatest of them all at Rangers, Walter Smith, always said that any Rangers manager is 3 games away from a crisis. And he knew what he was talking about and knew more about the club than anybody else. So there's an accumulation of pressure. It started at Pittodrie. They may have played well, may have deserved to win the match, but the fact is they were a penalty kick away from losing it. Then Aris Limassol, to fail to beat them at Ibrox, for me, is borderline comical. You ought to have so much more about you than they have. So the accumulation of pressure is there, and if he doesn't get a win over St Mirren, it'll kick in.
All Rangers in the opening stages, though. Desser's header from a Tavernier corner is held by Zach Hemming. So first chance comes from the set piece with about 5 minutes or so on the clock. Cyril Dessers, much maligned already, got up quite well, directed it goalward. Zach Hemming able to make the save in that one. No goals yet to tell you about at Easter Road. Do you know what's remarkable? Actually, Roger Hanna was telling me, what are the chances? It just shows you the influence, right, that this show has. Do you remember last week when we dug out the old magazine and we found your top 10 songs?
Yeah.
Do you know Rangers played your 10th favourite song over the tannoy as the teams were walking out today?
Do you know, it's incredible, the people that listen to the show. I thank them very much. That's very good. I wonder who will play my number one tune.
You'd appreciated more 40 years later than you were then.
Yeah.
Just incredible that song choice has just made it in there. Good on you.
One of them was simply the best though, so
that's what I'm saying. That's
the one.
That was his number 10.
Come on, Duff, keep up.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, that you have to make sure that it's the right song. That's what I mean.
Well, listen, last time you two were together we had the Justin Bieber episode, so I think I'd rather not go down that route.
Yeah, correct.
Again, let's steer you away from music if we can. You got the Christmas tunes on yet? Do you do that?
No,
not at all.
No,
it doesn't have a Christmas tree. There's no chance of getting a Christmas song.
When you're in the car, stick the music on, surely. No,
look, I'm all for the spirit of Christmas, but I don't do it in my house. No, I don't do it in the house. I refuse.
Well, fine then. What about the car? Get the music on.
No, I like my own music. You know, I like the bit of Nathan, Tina. Big Bus and all that.
Tina, yeah.
Bit of Tina, Joe, and listen, everything of their own. I like the Cinnamon Man. What do you call him?
Gary Cinnamon. You go to Jerry Cinnamon.
Jerry
Cinnamon.
You like Jerry Cinnamon?
I'm quite like him. Yeah, I'll quite like him.
Oh my! What did you make of your pal? Did you see Mark Wilson live on Sky Sports today? That's why he's not with us. Did you see him?
He'll obviously pay the big money
on
Sky.
TV.
I'll tell you what,
he was at the Celtic game.
He looked a bit chilly, didn't he? He'd been up. He says to me, "I need to be up there for about 9 o'clock." I was -3 at that time. Yeah, he looked a bit. He's usually red in the face, but he particularly looked a lot worse this afternoon.
He'll just about have thawed out by Thursday, I think, when he comes to rejoin you.
Not as red in the face as Brendan Rodgers obviously felt at half time.
Yeah, he was pretty angry. I'm going to play that interview in the not too distant future, but it's early stages in the game, so let's let them settle in. St Mirren starting to at least get up the pitch a bit more. Jim, you always need that. We referenced it earlier actually in the game at McDermott Park. Your priority might be to frustrate and to defend, but at some point you just need to get out of there and take the pressure off.
Yeah, I think that when you know that a team has had a little bit of stick during the week, as Rangers did get, and if you can manage to quieten the crowd, and we see it all the time in the first period of the game, then you know the players might get a little bit nervy and you know, might rush things, and so therefore your game plan is initially to make it as difficult as you can, slow the game down, take the sting out of the game. But if you can put a bit of pressure on them, and St Mirren have done that. You know, you're looking at their team. Rogers given as their team, you know, they have got forward players like Cylde and that in the supporting roles. They do get crosses into the box, they get the ball forward and they support it. So I don't see St Mirren just parting the bus here. I think that they will take the game to Rangers when they get the opportunity. That should help Rangers in some aspect, because there's a wee bit more space. They're not someone, you know, they're not just getting everybody camped. But so far, yeah, it's been quite an open game, and St Mirren, as we'd expect, are contributing to that.
Did you wear the winter shoes today?
I did.
The adoring public want to know. I cannot believe the response on my Instagram story yesterday to you and your high-tech trainers. Honestly,
had them on today.
But there was a real air
high-tech squash.
I know, squash. There was a real air of like investigative work being done though by the people on Instagram, because they were giving me real feedback. Like, I think they were bought in 95. Some were saying late 80s at the latest. There was a shout from who was it that sent me the message? David, saying that they looked like his mother's curling shoes from the 80s. But lots of people trying to get to the bottom of this mystery as to just exactly how long you've had them.
You see, I've done a Brendan Rodgers. I've gone retro. You know, Brendan's got James Forrest and Mikey Johnson, and I've got high-tech squash. Yeah,
so
and also I brought in my Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard fleece.
Have you seen it? He's found it. He's found it. I didn't know such a thing existed.
It looked cosy, I've got to say.
It also looked brand new. And how it's got to be at least 25 years old.
But you know,
probably 30 years old.
I'll tell you how old it is. It doesn't say Clyde 1 on it.
Oh, it just says Clyde.
There you go.
Clyde Super Scoreboard. Yeah.
Read into that what you will.
Radio Clyde 261.
It's in pristine condition.
I am the type of person, Jim. I have one drawer for black socks and another drawer for socks of another colour.
Are you a hoarder?
Yeah, I think the high techs and the fleece would vouch for that.
That is true. But
maybe an environmentalist. It's good for the environment. You're not throwing away stuff. You're not making things into the.
You're not a hoarder. You binned all your medals by accident. You chucked them in the dump.
Well, I binned them in the bed first.
That was an accident. Apart from that, would you consider yourself a hoarder?
No, I have my moments. I just go
crazy. Just clear it all out.
Everything goes, and then 2 days later I look for that item that I threw out.
See, where was that?
Exactly. I'm sure I've still got that.
See, the Dazzler for me, Dazzler strikes me as, although he is the age he is, he strikes me as a guy who likes to get down with the boys in the hood.
Sorry,
that's a phrase you do not want a Hugh Keevins to say.
And I'm
the
quite
boys
happy
in the hood.
I'm quite happy to be an old codger.
I like to get out there with my new trainers.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Throw out all the old stuff.
I throw, I'm
a thrower outer, I must admit. As soon as you can, in the bin, move on. Dessers has headed wide at the near post as well, so he's had a couple of sniffs early on, but nothing to cause.
You could have said that any weekend since August.
Well, he's not been playing, so it's been tough, but it's certainly been a bit of involvement in an attacking sense. It'll be interesting to see what this Rangers midfield, I was going to say what it looks like. We know what it looks like. I mean, how it operates, Jim, because it's supposed to be Todd Cantwell in the number 10, Todd Lawrence a bit deeper. Funnily enough, just as I looked up, Todd Cantwell was out on the right hand side where he's
he's got a free role basically. It's a 4-2-3-1. You know, I mean, they've got Lawrence and Lundstrom as a 2, and then the 3 obviously with McCausland, Seema and Cantwell. So he's got a free role to go and get himself involved in the game, find space, try and drag the St Mirren players out towards them, and Dessers should then look to exploit the space in behind. But
I should have said it wasn't actually a header, it was just a kind of flick, a volley, if you like, at the near post.
Yeah,
good effort. It was a good effort.
Decent run, wasn't it? And a decent ball for Tavernier, as you would expect. And the run you want your striker to make across the face of the defenders just didn't get enough purchase on it, and it went into the near post. But it's not been all Rangers. It's been predominantly Rangers, but St Mirren are certainly involved in the game.
Yeah, Aberdeen having a good spell, plenty of ball in the Hibs half. Socklers had a shot that hit Will Fish and then went wide. So I'm sure Barry Robson will be hoping to try and build on that early on.
Yeah, I think watching Hibs and seeing them live a few times this season, I totally agree with Fraser at Easter Road. I think that the new manager has to get defenders in January. Chops and change. Hanlon, who's very experienced player, is he still a captain? Paul Hanlon's there?
Club captain, isn't he?
Club captain. He's in and out. Fish, I think there's always a mistake in him. So I think he needs some good quality defenders. Middle to front, I think they're decent. I think they'll get good pace. I think they can score goals. I think they can hurt you, but they always give you goals, Hibs.
I think Aberdeen, you don't realise Aberdeen are still third bottom, 13 points. So I think that Aberdeen have to try and find some sort of consistency. They've got Miovski, who's a really good player. Duke seems a good player. They seem to have goals in their team, but for one reason or another they just haven't found that consistency.
How good is Miovski? And I'm genuine, that wasn't like a how good is Miovski. How good is Miovski? How highly do you rate him?
I think he's been terrific for Aberdeen, I've got to say. It was the big question with him and Duke, who was going to be the first. Duke hardly gets a look in now. He's doing a lot of his work coming off the bench, but Miovski, I think he showed with the qualities finish against Rangers at Pittodrie. I think he's got an eye for goal. I think he can lead the line. Better players round about him, better service. I think he could give you a good return.
In terms of our division, he's a very good player. It would remain to be seen how he would cut it in a bigger league. But as the Dazzler said, the finish at Pittodrie last Sunday was indicative of what he's capable of.
Well, he's an international player. I mean, obviously played against England there. It was that controversial, penalty with Lewis, but he's a player that certainly leads the line very, very well. I think he needs a partner. I actually think he enjoys playing with Duke. I'm surprised he doesn't, because Duke is quick and lively and busy and stretches defenders. But Barry Robinson's went with a more physical approach there, and with the 3-5-2. But no, he's a decent player, as Gordon mentioned there. The finish against Rangers was an exceptional finish, very calm, composed.
A fun game we sometimes play is because we know how skewed our league is. Naturally, the best player in the league tends to come from Celtic mostly. You can at times make a case for certain Rangers players. Is Miovski the best player outside of Glasgow, or is Lawrence Shanklin that man, or is Martin Boyle still up there? Who do you think it would be currently?
Boyle would be number. Shanklin, he wouldn't be in my top 5.
I think over the years he has been, but probably not now.
I'd like to come back to you in a couple of months and see how Tavares was doing, because it looks to me like there's a player in there.
We need to have some couple of months.
I'm with Shankman at the moment, because I think he's of his overall, goals, and also his development as a player and a captain. I mean, I had Lawrence Shankman as a young player. I didn't see him as a kind of captain type, but all credit to him, he's grown as a person, as a player, international player now. And I just think that outside the big guns in Glasgow, I think Lawrence Shankman has to be somebody you would think one of the best players.
Well, it's Miovski's teammate Richard Jensen's had an effort saved by the legs of David Marshall, so a chance for Aberdeen. It doesn't fall to Miovski, it goes a begging, and it is still goalless there in that one. I think we should give out an award like that. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard, best player outside of Glasgow come the end of a season.
It's like betting without the favourite.
I'm going to go with Jim. I like Shankman.
No, it's not Jim. Jim's past it. He was good in his day, but it's not Jim anymore.
No, he was good in his day. But I'm Shankman. Do you know who?
Hold on. Actually, we've got one of these
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's a goal for Hibs, and it's Dylan Venta. Speaking of strikers, and he was signed for a lot of money by Scottish standards. He has found the back of the net. It was just a David Marshall kick and missed by the Aberdeen defence. Dylan Venta took advantage, Boyle through, passed to Venta, and into the back of the net it goes. A tap in, the type that you would have loved, Gordon Dalziel, and Hibs lead Aberdeen by 1-0.
Yeah, good start for Hibs at home on the front foot. I know Aberdeen come out and they started brightly, but if Hibs can keep the back door shut, I think from middle to front they'll get players that can hurt you, they'll get players that can score goals. There'll be a big crowd inside Easter Road. I'm very impressed with their attendances, let me tell you. So far Hugh and I are having a good afternoon.
They're checking it for offside, of course.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, but Dylan Vente cost him £700,000. By the standards of those out with Celtic and Rangers, that's good money. So they're entitled to look for a return on their investment. But he's part of a Hibs side. In the final third of the pitch, there are a lot of players who can hurt you. And that's
all given, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I fancy them strongly this afternoon. And when you're an Aberdeen player and you've been to Helsinki and the snow and the tractors and all the malarkey that went on midweek, it now becomes a test of your resolve.
But they showed good character there, Hugh. You've got to give them credit. We watched the opening. In fact, we watched the game before we went on Super Scoreboard on Thursday. And at one point, I thought Aberdeen are going to get absolutely spanked here. They were all over the place, 2-0 down. Didn't look like there was a goal in them. And all credit to them. They made changes. Second half performance was good. So don't write them off yet, but I still fancy him.
Shot in the box for Todd Cantwell, but he's sort of off balance, so he doesn't get enough purchase on the shot in the end.
Did he not demand that they give him another shot?
He's got his shot from the start today, of course, in his preferred position. John Lundstrom anchoring that midfield on his own. The single pivot, as they called it in your day, Gordon. Or is that a modern phenomenon?
I've never heard that in my life. No,
just a sitting midfielder.
Sitting midfield player. Yeah.
But a lot of teams, like Man City do it, didn't it? With Rodri just sitting there, it's one of those ones where a lot of times, players will just sit there and dictate the play.
I noticed a stat earlier, entirely unsurprising, that the player with the highest pass completion in the English Premier League is Rodri. No shock. Number 2 on the list, Billy Gilmour, in the entirety of the English Premier League.
Well, he's playing at the biggest club in England. So
did they win today?
They're playing Chelsea today, but I think it's 4 o'clock.
They were losing, but Chelsea went down to 10 men. It's been a while since I checked, right enough, I must say.
It's a big teams that play at 4:30 here.
Yeah, so we're just about the hour mark. 2-1 down, I'm afraid to tell you, but Chelsea down to 10, I'm sure.
Blues v the White at 4:30, is it?
It was Conor Gallagher for a foul on Billy Gilmour.
Yep.
Lundstrom has a go from distance as well. This one goes wide, so Rangers having a go. Nothing is not a prolific attacking display yet. There's nothing really earth shattering to bring you. It is still Rangers 0, St Mirren 0.
I know what the boys are saying about St Mirren will have the goal. I don't think St Mirren will be up the park really. It's been mostly Rangers. They've been chapping at the door, but St Mirren, the guys will tell you one thing about the manager: he's got them well disciplined, well drilled. They know what their jobs are. They'll make it difficult, but so far Rangers are dominating the game.
Okay, Rangers 0, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0. Don't forget, on a Sunday like this we often open the phone lines early, which we have done, so 01419511025. These are the thoughts of Brendan Rodgers after the game in Perth, particularly the first half.
Yeah, I'm still angry, if I'm honest. The first half was nowhere near what you expect from a Celtic player and team. Just level of intensity and ambition in the game and speed, and absolutely nowhere near it. Got bullied for the goal, and we're soft in everything, with and without the ball. Half time was the angriest I've ever been as a manager. People who've been around me will know me that I'm normally very calm, and so it was nothing tactical. This was about the desire and what it takes to play for this club. And thankfully second half the players were brilliant. Callum McGregor was outstanding second half, and then I got more the energy and ambition that I want.
Hugh, strong words.
Yeah, again being very truthful and laying it out in front of the Celtic supporters. The worrying thing is he's saying it's not tactical, therefore it's not about me, it's about them, and they lack the intensity and the ambition required to play for Celtic. That's a damning indictment of those who were on the park in the first half, and it's also a warning to the people who can't even get a game in that team that lacks ambition and intensity, that you've all got to step up, because what I'm looking at is not good enough. I think those are very strong words from Brendan Rodgers, and the supporters should sit up and pay attention as well, because I mean the first caller today banging on about narratives and comparing everything to Rangers. Just stop and look at your own team. And Brendan Rodgers stopped and looked at his own team today, and he found it not to his liking.
Yeah, I must admit, I really liked the fact that Brendan Rodgers came out with that statement after the game. You know, he was saying that, you know, what it means to him as a Celtic manager and what it should mean to his players. And yet there are times, we know that he made a substitution right on half time, and then later on in the game he changed the shape. But at half time, as he said, it's about showing desire, character. We mentioned that, Gordon, in here, that you know, there's different qualities required to be a footballer, and the first thing you have to do is have that desire and that strength of character and what it means. It's got to hurt, whereas Celtic didn't look as if it mattered enough in the first half, but they did transform in the second half, and all credit to them, whether it was from the manager's unhappiness and reaction to half time, or whether they realise themselves, or a combination. And that's part of the reason why I'm saying somebody like Callum McGregor maybe left on the pitch, because he's one of the guys that knows what it means. He's been there, he's done it so many times, and he maybe drives the players on.
Well, speaking of Callum McGregor, I think that's someone that Darryl from Barrhead wanted to discuss. Darryl,
how we doing, Baron? How we doing, Chuck? I'd just like to discuss, I think he's the way he's going on is if Celtic are in absolute turmoil. We went away, and yes, we've not been great, but we've won another game. It seems as if Celtic are in absolute panic mode, the way that yous are going on. I think it's actually embarrassing.
I mean, Brendan Rodgers just was pretty scathing there about the first half performance, so wasn't he? Yeah,
that's completely fine that Rodgers is angry, and he's rightfully so disappointed, but the way that this panel's going on,
so it sounded more than disappointed, the way, like the angriest he's ever been as a manager. That's more than just disappointment, isn't it?
Fine, but he gets the 3 points, so I'm sure he's not saying that at the end of the game. Do you know what I mean?
What was at the end of the game?
He's coming from at half time. Yep, that's fine, but at the end of the day, we've got the 3 points, and at the end of the day, like, we are still so many points clear. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about the way you're going on as if Celtic are in turmoil. I think it's actually embarrassing.
But what do you mean he won't be saying that at the end of the game? It was at the end of the game that he said it.
He said that at half time he was the angriest he ever was. Yes, I understand that. However, I'm sure at the end of the day, in the changing room, he's quite happy that we're leaving with 3 points.
Well, you can you can rest assured, Darryl, that none of us are feeling embarrassment. First of all, we're here.
Couldn't they mark you with a blowtorch, as the phrase goes?
We are here to pass comment. And you fall under the category of Celtic apologist. You know, whatever happens at the club, Celtic is right even when they're wrong. And the players at the moment, you're being told by your manager, they lack ambition at times, they lack intensity. And he looks at the bench and thinks there's no point in bringing any of them on.
Well, that's not the case, though, is it?
No, but
Mikey Johnson,
I'm talking about the Paulo Bernardos, the Toms. I always remember a story that my old friend Jim Craig, a Lisbon Lion, told me when Jock Steam's the Celtic manager, and he's given the team what for at half time, and Jim wasn't playing that day, and he thought, oh, I'm glad it's not me. And he turned to Jim Craig and said, you must be some player if you can't get a game in this team. And that's the kind of thing that Brendan Rodgers was saying to those players today. So you know, people at Darryl have to be careful. They'll get 5 more league games before they get to Rangers. They've got Hibs midweek at Celtic Park. They've got Kilmarnock away next Sunday, where they've already lost in a cup tie this season. So, you know, there's a danger. You think that there's hysteria on our part, Darryl. There's a danger of complacency among supporters who absolutely refuse to look at the team objectively.
Well, Darryl is right though. I mean, it ended well and it was a good win in the end and a very good performance. What pleased you most about the response, Darryl?
Well, Shug, I think that's quite a strange position to take. The fact that I'm an apologist. Listen, I followed this team home and away, and I'm first to criticise. But the way that you jump on the team when we have came away in our way again with 3 points, like, I just don't understand the criticism that's coming in for. I understand it's not been the greatest performances, but we're still winning in the league. Yes, last week, and I will not apologise for backing a winning team.
What I am saying is that you're complacent. You're failing to see that the team have slipped. The Motherwell result was a shocker. But for Joe Hart today, it was going to be 2-2. And
you can always say that though. I mean, that's what he's there for. Celtic deserved to win in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, but as we said, as we agreed in play, fine margins, and they might have scored 2 tremendous goals up until the save from Joe Hart. But Joe Hart had to pull them out of the fire.
Yeah, no, but that's just the timing of it, because what you don't do then is you don't allow for the good saves that Mitov made. You know, it's just the timing of it. You're right in isolation that's what happens there, but to sort of, it does sound a bit like you're offering that as if, you know, Celtic almost didn't deserve to win it at that point, or they, you know, do you know what I mean by that? Because we're not mentioning Mitov's saves.
The other thing, Darryl was saying that you know, in the programme, I don't think we said anything different. I mean, maybe it may be wrong, but I don't think we said anything different from what Darryl said. With the first half, and Brendan Rodgers was poor. In the second half, we thought Celtic played really well and deserved to win. I'm sure we all said that. Celtic and scored fantastic goals. So
those were good, weren't they?
If we talk about just the game in isolation, I don't think we said anything different from what Darryl seen and what Brendan Rodgers said. We said they had showed great character, great desire, change the tempo, change the shape. We've done plenty of praise, you know, for Celtic in the second half and in most of the game. But the first half was lacklustre, and the manager, you know, just didn't look to it. It was absolutely furious about that, and we said that. So I don't think there was really that much different from what Darryl himself thought.
What was the difference after the break, Darryl?
Well, listen, when O comes on, it's a different game. I think James Duffy makes a great point, and he's been very fair on how it's been. I think when O comes on, it does change the game, and the goals that we score are brilliant. Obviously, Joe Hart does make a great save, but you know what? That's why he's been a top goalie. He's not been great for us. I'm not his biggest fan, but you know what? He's made that save. But I think for Shug to say that, if it's not for a Joe Hart save that we're 2 each, I think that's very unfair. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, because we said that, Hugh, we've covered that. Mitov made a lot of good saves as well, so we'll go around in circles on that all day. I don't think that does anyone any benefit.
That Darryl calls me Shug and calls Jim Duffy James.
Pretty right.
That's because it's familiarity.
That's okay with that.
No, Shug's a good nickname though. No. You can't be selective about this. You dislike it when people call you Keevins.
Yeah.
We can't add Shug to that. Shug is a term of endearment.
You see, the narrative is that Shug is somehow demeaning me a little.
Nah, Shug's a term of endearment. Darryl, it means you love him, really, doesn't it?
Take a chunk.
Sort of, Darryl.
Listen, I've always just seen it as Shug. I don't know why it's in.
Exactly. We're now over-analysing everything, Darryl.
She were sort of agreeing and disagree a wee bit with Darryl on the fact that I thought, I'm quite a fan of O. I still think there's a bit to come. I thought he did make a difference. I liked the fact that Mikey Johnston come on and gave Celtic at half time just that look, he wasn't absolute, but he gave them a spark. He gave them I thought the pace lifted with him. They got the ball out to him.
But let's be honest,
the full-backs
the bar was about an inch off the ground at that point.
I know, Hugh, but
now I'm with Darryl. You're now finding fault in everything. Say something positive. Go on. Make Darryl happy this festive period.
Christmas. Matt O'Reilly's goal was unbelievable.
It was. It's interesting though, because Brendan Rodgers was saying in the comments we heard there, you know, he said it wasn't tactical, it was about, you know, intensity or desire, whatever words he used. But obviously it was a tactical element if we were talking about substitutions, personnel changes, and Kyogo operating in a different area. It's not like the same players just had to go out and try harder.
But the tactics only work if the attitude changes,
Yeah,
if
I
the
agree with
mentality
that.
changes.
Sure, but like I said, it's not just about trying harder.
But you could try the tactics, Gordon. But the fact is, what Brendan Rodgers was saying, yeah, okay, he's not going to overanalyse it, but you could have changed the tactics if the Celtic had the same approach. Even with it wouldn't have worked. So they needed a different approach, which they did have, and the tactics, and ultimately the quality. Because it comes down to quality at the end of it. Celtic's quality was far in excess of St Johnstone's. You look at the goals, all 3 goals were of absolute top quality. St Johnstone, for all the organisation, discipline, hard work, effort, all that stuff, don't have any of that quality in their ranks in any part of the pitch.
I think if you hear Brendan Rodgers, he uses the word in the last 2 or 3 times I've listened to him, speed of play.
Aye.
I thought first half they didn't have that. Second half, tactics. Jim's right. You still need that mentality to go out and say, okay, he's tweaked the tactics, but we've still got to lift the pace of the game. We've got to move the ball quicker. We've got to be on our toes, because first half there was a lot of slack balls, giving the ball away. It was very casual. And Brendan Rodgers 100% right. They get bullied for the goal. Let's not be kidded. But I thought Celtic, and I said it after the game, I know they didn't play particularly well first half, but I thought they bossed that game and deserved. That's always going to be a hard game against 10 men behind the ball, well disciplined.
What about the goal that was lost, Darryl? Is it as simple to pin that on Joe Hart? Is there anyone else that needs to take their share?
Joe Hart's got to do better. 100%, he's got to do better. I'm not going to argue that fact, but he makes up for it later on, and we're going up the road with 3 points, so can't complain too much.
You see, Joseph Hart was poor in the Motherwell game when they scored, and Joseph Hart was poor today at the St Johnstone goal, and it's not good enough that when Celtic concede a corner kick, you're thinking the other team could score from this.
Thank you very much to Darryl on the line on 01419511025. Todd Cantwell gives the ball away, then fouls Conor McMenamin, but it's still goalless at Ibrox. Don't forget, Hibs do lead Aberdeen by 1-0. The 10 men of Chelsea are 3-1 up against the Seagulls, I'm afraid, Hugh.
De Zerbi must go.
Championship for you guys.
Not a chance.
Struggling.
Not as long as they're Paul Heckingbottom at Sheffield.
Yeah, they're many points.
5-0 yesterday.
Yeah, they got about 2 points.
Ollie McBurney sent off, wasn't he?
He is truly hopeless.
You don't even see him. You don't see him.
We've got a Grinch in
He's just gone. He's just going to slate everything.
The minute he gets, he's playing in the English Premier League.
There's no
and because he gets sent
phrase.
off, he's hopeless.
I don't have time to hang about.
Say what you think, Hugh.
Exactly.
Jamie McGrath with a low shot from 18 yards. Good save by David Marshall. Probably entering, well, we are entering that period of the first half where Rangers fans will be, I don't think, fully restless on the scale. They're just really hoping for something to take into the break, aren't they?
Well, I mean, they've not a real shot at goal, have they? And I think if they get into half time 0-0, you'll let the players know they're not happy. And again, they have to try and get a response. But I'm not too sure about the Rangers setup. I know that Seema started well, but he's been pretty much anonymous. We like young McCausland, but is he the guy that you've got to be banking on to be creative? Cantwell's been, very, I'm not going to say anonymous, but he's certainly been very little involved in the game. So Rangers very similar, have to do a lot more.
I tell you what, you might get the Rangers manager coming in at half time and saying it's the angriest I've ever been, because we just had a look at him there and he is not a happy chappy.
As they say in Belgium, he is going tonto.
Bit of a sniff from Ayunga. He just misses it across the face of goal. So St Mirren are at least showing, to be fair, signs of an attacking threat as well.
To Darryl and to Paul and all the others who have come on.
Great save, Jack Butland.
I said at 11:45 when this programme started that Celtic and Rangers were on trial today, and the accusation was that they had gone flat. By half time, Celtic has shown that was the case, but by full time had redeemed themselves in full. Rangers have yet to redeem themselves because they are flat, and Jim Duffy's right, they haven't had a proper chance at goal.
And St Mirren are threatening. It was that good save I referenced. I think it was possibly McMenamin with the effort, and we know that Jack Butland has been very reliable since he arrived. That's another excellent save. It's, you know, a kind of sprawling, was it Boyd Munce perhaps, with the shot in the end. Anyway, good save.
Lindstrom gives the ball away cheaply, and gives the opportunity. St Mirren, like a wee bit like St Johnstone, grown in confidence. That's words getting that phrase is getting used well this afternoon. Good save from Butland.
I think that we mentioned that
it's dreadful from Lundstrom, isn't it, to give it away?
St Mirren weren't going to go in camp, you know, and I don't think they have done. There's not been any one real cross from Tavernier, which Dessler's got a little flick to. But other than that, nothing too much for St Mirren to be concerned about.
Fraser Wishart says a VAR check for something in the box. Let me translate that for you. See, when Fraser was sunning himself in South Africa, in Geneva, or wherever else he's been
working,
he was certainly not thinking, I can't wait to get back to VAR in Scottish football.
Well, that's it.
What box?
Oh, I don't know. Play on. Doesn't matter. Forget it.
But Fraser, like the rest of us, is thinking on occasion with VAR. What is it? Yeah. What is it? What are you looking at?
What have you seen?
Yeah,
that no one else in the ground sees.
Yeah,
yeah. But we see it every week at every level. VAR is just a constant argument, really, in debate. In this game here, I think the Rangers fans would be delighted if there was a VAR shout just now, just to give them something to think about and something to get excited about, because it's really been quite, poor. St Mirren again, because St Mirren have defended well and performed well, as I said, not just parked the bus, but Rangers are a little bit like we're saying about Celtic, have to move the ball quicker. They have to do things a lot sharper.
Yeah, we're approaching the last kind of 5 minutes or so of the opening 45 at Ibrox, and as Jim says, it's not been one of those that Rangers are knocking at the door constantly and just waiting in the breakthrough. It has not been like that yet. Maybe a bit more detail on the Hibs incident, or the Aberdeen Miovski shot saved by Marshall. Maybe check in to see where the ball was in that incident there. So Rangers fans will be hoping for a bit better in the closing 5 minutes of the half.
The Rangers goalkeepers had the better of saves. Had a good save there. Rangers have got most of the possession, but they're not, Jim's right, they're not moving the ball quick enough. They're not creating chances. The goalkeeper's not really been called into action. Stevie Robertson will be over the moon so far. We did look at the Rangers manager. He is not pleased at all. So there might be a few, if this continues, there'll certainly be a few strong words at half time.
When we go to Roger at half time, you'll know exactly how the crowd feel, because the Rangers fans have taken to giving full vent to their feelings. I thought the atmosphere on Thursday against Aris Limassol was quite extraordinary. The crowd were on top of the players from start to finish, on top of the manager when he took Cantwell off. So if it's 0-0 at half time, you'll know by this the noise being made.
Gordon, I'm looking at Dessers. As a striker, you've not played a lot of games, you've not played the last couple of games. Would you think that he should just take the ball in a little bit and just draw defenders towards him, use his physicality? I mean, the 3 or 4 times that we've seen him involved in the play, he's tried little flicks, little bits round the corner. I just think that sometimes when you've not played a lot of games, because he's giving the ball away, and listen, you might say, well, it's inventive, he's trying something different, but I think when you've not played a lot, the first thing you have to do is secure the ball and then bring other players into play.
Yeah,
then go on your bike.
He's not really convinced me, Jim, every time I've seen him. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to say that. I think a lot of Rangers fans are still to be convinced of him. I think the 2 big question marks are him and Lammers. Lammers left out today, obviously. Cantwell played in that midfield 3. As a number 9, as much as you're quite rightly saying, take the ball in rather than the flicks or whatever, me personally, I would be doing everything sharp-wise round about that box to get on the end of things to score goals, because I don't care if you're a number 9 and you touch the ball once in the game and you score a goal. Rangers fans think you've done your job.
Yeah, but I think if you've the ball comes up to you and you're the central striker, take it and at least if you're going to play one touch, it has to find your teammate.
Yeah, and he's not yourself under pressure.
Yeah, and it's okay, having energy and chasing after it and stuff. But as you said, the main thing you're there for is either to score goals or be a threat in the goals and occupy defenders. And I just don't see Dessers doing that in the first half. It's just I feel a little bit for him as well. Similar we said about Kyogo, but on his own. Cantwell's all over the place. He's not playing just off the striker.
That's what I was going to say, because the full team's flat. So is that then? Does that allow you to be a bit more sympathetic to Dessers, or though is he part of that? As the focal point, is he the one that maybe has to inspire the team to not be flat?
Yeah, no, I do. As I mentioned in Kyogo today, if you're not getting service to him, then there's not a lot you can do. But he's had maybe half a dozen, Gordon, where I think that the ball's come up to him and he's on that little kind of quarter turn where he's laying it and then he's trying to go and he's overhit it, he's underhit it, he's tried the wee couple of back keelers. Just take it in, hold the defender off, make sure 100% you get to your team. That's the first thing you do. And then when you're playing well and the team's playing well, you can then try the little inventive parts of the game. So I just think you just got to just take a deep breath and understand his role in the team, even though he's not getting a huge amount of touches.
Jim's right, but you're looking at pictures. There's not a player taking the game, the scruffing it. Cantwell is running about like he's playing the playground. He's just chasing the ball. Now, whether he's been told, look, you've given a free roll, just go and get on the ball, make things happen, because he's certainly all over the pitch, which loses his shape for me sometimes. But you look at Rangers, a wee bit like Celtic today, first half, taking too long to move the ball. But all credit to St Mirren.
He took a bit of time away from chasing a player down there to have a pop at the ref, and I think the fans noticed it. I don't think the fans were too happy. I would have preferred they just got on with it.
He's been throwing himself about the whole first half, and he did it again there, and the referee rightly just ignored it. And at that point the petulant side of his nature came out to play. And as I say, he's got an attitude problem.
If I'm a midfield player, I want to know where my 10 is. I want to be able to find him. So out of corner of my eye, I know he's going to be playing in these areas. If he's outside right, outside left, midfield, deeper, and you never know, the next minute you turn around and say, oh, he's behind me. No, he's out in the wing. I think you've got to know where these players are. You play in little pockets. You're clever in those areas. You just wait your moment, and then the players can find you. Like Lawrence has just tried, a couple of times. But to me, just be a little bit more composed and calm. Stop me running. He's maybe trying too hard, to be fair.
Good point, Jim. Good point. And I think that's where the problem is with Clement, the manager. I think he looks at him and thinks, you need to be a team player here. Whether we don't know the instructions he's been given, might be hard on him.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And who do you think scored for Rangers right on cue? Abdallah Sima. 45 minutes on the clock. What a time to score. This has not been a vintage first half performance. You get the sense the Rangers fans have not enjoyed it, but right on the stroke is a great break down the right, and the assist from Cantwell, and it's the best move of the game by a mile. It's not been a game that's had lots of goal scoring opportunities, but an emphatic finish, and Rangers lead St Mirren by a 0-0.
Psychologically the best time for Rangers to score, psychologically the worst time for St Mirren to concede, but it's a fine finish from Sima, and it just takes the heat off the whole situation. It allows Clement to go in, have his rant at half time, but it's a different type of rant now, because at least he's got a goal.
Well done to Dessers.
Well, it changes everything.
I think Dessers, you're right. Plays it in Cantwell. Cantwell ain't passing that. He's very fortunate. Seema decides to, I'll tell you what, I'll take over here. That's a terrific finish.
But look at Dessers holding up, keeping the defender there, and then waiting to pass. Great. You said Cantwell's coming to have a shot in his left foot, but Seema's coming off that left hand side flank, and a fantastic finishing. All credit to Seema again. He's doing really well in terms of goal scoring for a wide player, and but Desser's much better centre forward player. But what a brilliant goal from Rangers. I mean, Tavernier's under pressure on his goal line, and he could have just smashed it 45 minutes into the stand, says let's get into half time. He didn't. He stayed composed, went to goals, and a little dink up to McCausland, and then they played from there into the channel. And it was a fantastic footballing goal and a great finish.
Yeah, Seema had that great spell mid-September to mid-October. He's then gone 8 without a goal, Gordon, so he'll be delighted, I'm sure, to get back amongst it.
Yeah, and what I liked about him there, he could have easily just stayed out of Cantwell's Road, he decided, no, I'm taking over here, and he absolutely buried it. He's got it in his locker. It's a terrific finish. Goals give you so much confidence, especially at Ibrox, especially in front of what, nearly 50,000. Right on the stroke of half time, good time to score.
Half time at Ibrox. Let's hear from Roger Hanna.
Half time, Gordon, Rangers 1, St Mirren 0. What a difference a goal makes. We were anticipating jeers from the home fans at half time. Instead, it's only cheers. Abdallah Sima scoring the only goal just in added time at the end of the first half. A sweeping move from his own penalty box until Sima slammed a right foot shot past Zach Hemming, and it lifted a cloud of gloom here because Rangers have huffed and puffed for the majority of this 45 minutes. Couple of half chances for the recalled Cylde Dessers in the opening minutes. First they headed into Zach Hemming's arms from James Tavernier's corner, and then when Tavernier made progress in the right again, he played the ball into the box, but this time a weak shot wide at the near post. Todd Cantwell, he also had a weak shot, couldn't get any purchase on it when he was off balance in the box after Tavernier had nodded down a deep cross from Borna Barisic. Rangers not at their best at that stage. A couple of efforts off target from long distance from John Lundstrom. Sima, he headed over as well from a Tavernier cross, and there was a few restless natives inside Ibrox at that stage, none more so than Philippe Clement. He was complaining to the fourth official and the referee when Marcus Fraser delayed a throw-in. When the same incident happened a couple of minutes later, again Fraser delaying the throw-in, more complaints from Clement, and this time a yellow card for the St Mirren centre half for time wasting. St Mirren did begin to come into the game at that stage. Jonah Ayunga just failing to reach a deep cross from the left by Scott Tanzer, and moments later Jack Butland called into action, plunging to his right to make a fine diving save to deny Caelan Boyd Muntz. Cantwell, he wasn't enjoying the afternoon playing in the number 10 role. A couple of complaints to referee Matthew McDermott. He also gave the ball away and then fouled Conor McMenamin as he tried to get the ball back. But then the breakthrough in added time. Tavernier inside his own box turned, played a pass to Connor Goldson. It was knocked out to the right to Ross McCausland. He fed Cyril Dessers in the channel. Dessers did well, turned back inside, played the ball into Cantwell in the box. Cantwell tried to get it onto his left foot for a shot, but there was Sima stealing in to take it off his teammate's toe and slam a right foot shot past Hemming and into the bottom corner. A long awaited breakthrough for Rangers. Half time, Rangers 1, St Mirren 0.
Half time at Easter Road. Here's Fraser.
Hibernian 1, Aberdeen 0. Pretty good game to watch, to be honest. Very open, some nice passing by both sides when they've got the ball, and chances at both ends, but they're separated by a Dylan Venter goal that Don's boss Barry Robson will be really angry about. His defence missing a long ball by Marshall, and then a tap in for Venter at the very end of it. Just over 1 minute on the clock when the Fish sent a long ball over the top, and Boyle outpaced Rubizic, and his low shot in the angle was saved well and near post by Roos, and that was a sign of things to come for the Aberdeen back four. But then Aberdeen had a good spell. Lewis Stevenson had to be full stretch to deny Nicky Devlin at the back post. Esther Sockler then found space inside the box. His shot hit Will Fish and spun just wide. Then Richard Jensen got good connection at the back post to Leighton Clarkson. Free kick, it was saved by Marshall's legs. But then in 18 minutes against the run of play, Hibs opened the scoring. Very, very simple. David Marshall with a kick out. Somehow Jensen missed it. Rubizic didn't cover in behind him, and all the Aberdeen defenders were just left in the trail of Martin Boyle. He ran on 1-on-1 with Keller Roos, and he cleverly just squared the ball to Venter, just almost walked the ball into the empty net. Terrible goal from an Aberdeen perspective, but the goal gave Hibs a real lift. Bushiri almost made it to the header from a Newell free kick just over the bar, and then Aberdeen almost equalised in 32 minutes. Venter gave the ball away 30 yards from the Hibs goal, and Jimmy McGrath got onto the end of the ball with a low 18-yard shot. He hit it well, a really good save by Marshall down to his right, and 4 minutes later the best chance that they've had in the half for Aberdeen. Young Rory Whittaker from Hibs, robbed by Shinnie in the right back area, who squared the ball to Majowski at the back post 6 yards out. He turned the ball towards goal. Really good save by Marshall. It hit the post and the ball was cleared. There was a VAR check, was the ball over the line, but the VAR said no. And for Hibs, the closest they came to extending the lead was on the whistle when Will Fish header 12 yards out, did really well, got good power on it, but it just floated inches over the bar from a Newell free kick. Game could go either way here. Looking forward to more of the same in the second half. Could do with a really good couple of goals here. Half time, Hibernian 1, Aberdeen 0.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. NHS staff use code 67 for 10% off all repairs. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the 3 o'clock games. Celtic won the early kick-off 3-1 at St Johnstone. We've opened the phone lines early, so it's 01419511025. If you want to have your say, please do give the guys a call. Just feel like the reaction at half time, Roger, would have been entirely different if Abdallah Sima hadn't popped up just before the break. Great time to score, wasn't it?
It was a perfect time to score because it had been an insipid display by Rangers in the first 45 minutes, not unlike the first 45 minutes against Aris Limassol here on Thursday night. And you wondered, Philip Clement went to his bench early, then 35 minutes McCausland for Cantwell, and you just wonder if he was considering going to his bench again early. Cyril Dessers, not a great first 45 minutes, although, as Jim Duffy said, he did terrifically well down the channel for the goal to feed the ball into Todd Cantwell before Abdallah Sima scored that opening goal. I think he may well have turned to his bench, but of course the goal makes all the difference. It changes his team talk, and it changes Stephen Robinson's team talk as well, Gordon, because he undoubtedly would have been content with the way the game was going. It's very much a 5-4-1 formation, but Zach Hemming hadn't really had a save of note to make, and there were a couple of half chances there just after the half-hour mark. Scott Tanzer's ball across, just missed by Jonah Ayunga, and then a decent save by Jack Butland to deny Caelan Boyd Munn. So that goal will mean everything to Philip Clement. So will it? You think there could have been a change at the break, but that won't happen now because of the goal? Yeah, I wonder if he was seriously considered in Danilo up front, because Dessers was making no impact on that three-man St Mirren central defence at all. But that was not just not his best flash of the afternoon, one of his better flashes in the Rangers shirt. His involvement in the link-up down that channel on the right-hand side, and as Jim Duffy correctly said, a terrific Rangers goal, a sweeping move from end to end. It sounds like fairly even at the break at Easter Road, Fraser, in terms of obviously not even scoreline, but you know, the second half there for both sides to go and try and take something.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, pretty even game, although Aberdeen, I have to say, have probably had the best chances of the game, but the one goal came, as you said, from Dylan Venter. The warning signs were there first minute. Will Fish, right side centre back, just launches a big long ball over the top. Jensen misjudges it. Rubens isn't cut on the cover, and Boyle goes through and has a shot in the angle, saved by the goalkeeper, and that's what happened with the goal. Marshall just launched a ball. I don't know what Jensen was doing. He misjudged it completely, came forward to header it, went over his head, but Rubens hasn't deepened again. And Martin Boyle, quite cleverly, he was through 1-1 with the goalkeeper. He could have gone on his own, had to go round him, or he could have shot, but just cleverly just squared it, and Venter walks in the easiest goal of his entire career. But Aberdeen have had the best chances, I have to say. Miowski's looked sharp up front, and he probably should have scored, although you have to give Marshall the credit for a really good save when from the shinny cross, and the Hibs defence has really been tested. So pretty open game, but Barry Robson will be furious at the goal he lost, and you see it on television, just a very, very basic errors by the back three.
Well, it's going to be an interesting 45 minutes at both Ibrox and Easter Road. It's coming up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Carl Robert Accident Repair. They'll collect, repair and deliver your vehicle, providing a hassle-free service.
Ding dong, maverick on high, magic Mike's bells are ringing. Ding dong, Shazam in the sky, and Spider-Man is swinging.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 2 free View Cinema tickets a month and Paramount Plus. Sky Cinema.
Movies made Christmas.
That's good value. Sky TV contract and Paramount Plus setup required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. Choose from 30 manufacturers and over 6,000 vehicles online. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time in the 3 o'clock games. Rangers 1, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0, and a full time result from earlier, just in case you haven't heard, was St Johnstone 1, Celtic 3. The phone lines are open early on a Sunday, 01419511025. What did you make of the game at McDermott Park? And once the 3 o'clock games finish, what did you make of those? Give us a call. Anything of note before the second half kicks off at Ibrox, Roger?
Well, just waiting, the Rangers team coming out. St Mirren team is out on the pitch, ready to go again, unchanged from Stephen Robinson in the second half. Rangers substitutes still warming up, no sign of James Tavernier in the team. It doesn't look as if Philip Clement will make any changes. I'm just looking, all the subs still seem to be there, and you know, a very, very late goal by Abdallah Sima. He's 10th of the season, as you said. He's not got one for a while. He scored the first goal of the Philip Clement reign, up 4-0 win here against Hibernian. He was also on target in the 3-0 win against St Mirren in Paisley earlier in the season when Stephen Davis was in temporary charge of the Rangers team. So he will be glad to end that little mini goal drought that he had. Just looking, Rangers team coming out here just now. led by James Tavernier. It looks to me as if it's the same team. They're not all out yet. McCausland coming out, Liam Balogun coming out. Yes, the last man, Todd Cantwell, coming out. He will survive to play the second half, and so he should. He played an integral role in that opening goal, taking the pass from Seema, feeding it from Dessers, feeding it on to Seema. I'm not too sure it was an intention to feed it onto Abdallah. Seema, the big winger, taking the ball just off Tavernier's Cantwell's toe and slamming into the bottom corner. We're just about to get underway. No changes either side. Rangers 1-0 up at half time.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Ding dong, maverick on high, magic mic bells are ringing, ding dong Shazam in the sky, and Spider-Man is swinging.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 2 free View Cinema tickets a month and Paramount Plus. Sky Cinema.
Movies made Christmas.
That's good value.
Sky TV contract and Paramount Plus setup required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
There we go. Perhaps no surprise. I take it that's the old managerial one. The goal changes it for you, even if you were thinking about a change. No need. Everything's rosy after the opening goal.
Yeah, the half-time team talk certainly changes, because I think that he would have had a few strong words. Roger's right. I think
he presumably will still have done that bit though, yeah?
Yeah, but I think he may have looked at the substitutions, but he's obviously got that goal, and he's probably had a few strong words with one or two and said, look, we need to up the game here, we need to go and finish this. The next goal would probably see them getting the 3 points, which is important to them, especially at home. They've not been at their best, but it's all about winning. It's all about closing that gap in Celtic. So it'll be interesting to see the response he gets in the second half.
I think Dessers has played his part in the goal, and therefore that saved his skin as well, because had there been no goal, then Clement would have done a Brendan Rodgers. He'd have looked at Dessers and thought, look, just come off, nothing's happening for you. But he's been part of the goal, and he's thought, right, he's bought himself a chance to persevere, and the goal changes the complexion of the afternoon, and I think it saved Dessers from an early bath.
It does change things for St Mirren as well, although to be fair, Jim, it's not like they were ultra cautious holding out for a 0-0 anyway, so I'm not sure we're going to see a drastic change in what St Mirren did. They actually had a couple of decent openings.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see a drastic change. They'll try and stay in the game as long as they possibly can, and then maybe with 15-20 minutes to go, Stevie Robinson might gamble a little bit, maybe take one of the midfield players off, or one of these central defenders, and just go for it. But in terms of managers at half time, where it's Clement going into half time, you can still be angry, but it's tempered by the fact that you've scored the goal. Because if you don't temper it, Gordon, the players are sitting there. If you're off in one and ranting, they're sitting there and saying, wait a minute, we're winning 1-0 here. So so you've got to understand the personality of your players, and also how they will react to you.
Some big score lines coming in from the English Premier League. 103.5 minutes so far been played at Chelsea. They're 3-2 up against Brighton, as we said. Chelsea down to 10 men, and in the 87th minute of Liverpool against Fulham were leading 3-2, but Liverpool scored in the 87th and 88th minute and won it 4-3. In fact, is it even over yet? Is it? Yeah, it's finished now.
Is that unprofessional, Hugh?
No, that's
well, how come every time somebody loses a goal early, then it's unprofessional, but with a minute to go they lose one and then lose a goal a minute later?
World of difference.
No, you're not giving unprofessional.
No, if you come out and Tommy Burns used to say to me, the last thing you tell them in the dressing room is the first thing they forget when they go out on the park. So if it happens at the start of the game, then yeah, if you lost a goal in the first minute, unacceptable. If you score a goal in the last minute, then that's about resilience.
No,
and
no,
character.
What's
but
unacceptable about it though?
87 and 88 minutes. Is that unacceptable?
It's a sign of Liverpool being indomitable.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley scored last night in 15 seconds.
Incredible.
15 seconds. And that's when you're scratching your head as a manager. You see all the things as you said there. Yeah, you see everything until your players go on. You've been there and you see, make sure this doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. 15 seconds, you're a goal down in a relegation battle, even at this stage of the season, and there's no way back from it.
I think I missed my calling. I should have been a manager.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'd have loved you being a manager.
Wouldn't have lasted very long, I
No,
suspect.
the players wouldn't have lasted very long. He'd be standing there going, how come I've only 6 on that pitch?
You need to have a big squad and a lot of subs. You're all right now with 9 subs and you can change 5 of them, because you'd have changed 5 after 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't time to hang about.
Early stages then of the second half, nothing really to tell you about. Certainly Rangers are the team attacking at Ibrox in the opening stages. Still the opportunity there to turn this into a comfortable afternoon. The first half wasn't that, but once you do get that lead, if you can score early in the second, the game takes on a whole different complexion. So
Gordon, there's a midweek games Tuesday and Wednesday. Celtic playing earlier, or Celtic playing Wednesday and Rangers Tuesday, is it?
No, it's at the same night.
At the same night? Is it the same night this week?
yeah, the only one on Tuesday is Ross County Motherwell,
right,
and then the rest are all Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah,
I wasn't 100% sure, because obviously we're talking today about Celtic obviously they haven't done the job, and then Rangers having to follow on it. I know it kind of flips it
the
sometimes,
psychology.
but I was just curious of whether there was a game Tuesday, Rangers, both on Wednesday.
Tuesday night, otherwise you'd have gone up, wouldn't you? You'd have gone up to Dingwall.
I'm raging
because you're in here. Do you want me to get a swap? I'll sort of swap for you, no problem.
Ask about and see if you can get anything. I'd be much appreciated. and phone me tonight and let me know, so that gives me plenty of time to plan.
Roger Hanna says he'll do it. He'll do Tuesday. He's messaged already.
I wouldn't go up to Dingwall if I was a manager in Motherwell.
It's a nice place, Dingwall.
Oh, it's a hell of a journey.
Another save,
mate.
Another save, Jack Butland from Igunga. So he's had to be alert today, has Jack Butland.
He has been the one. He's just a fantastic goalkeeper, and he gives so much confidence to everybody in front of him.
Yeah, no, what I like about Butland as well is his demeanour. He's not one of the ones that if he makes a save he starts ranting and screaming and shouting and that stuff. He does his job. You see him, you can see he's certainly vocal, but he's a guy that always looks calm, even if something does slip a little bit. You see him, he puts his hand up, he acknowledges things. He's very two-footed. I mean, he strikes the ball brilliant with either foot. And yeah, he's been a very good signing for Rangers, because following Alan McGregor was always going to be tough.
Yeah, 3 corners in quick succession for St Mirren, so they're giving it a go at the start of the second half as well.
They've got a bit of height about them, St Mirren. That's what I did notice when I seen them in Paisley. I thought, quite a big team, would be a danger at set plays. So Rangers just need to be careful.
Yeah, we saw that today, didn't we, with the earlier game?
Yeah, well, Hara heads this one onto the roof of the net.
Yeah, just with the Celtic game, we knew that St Johnstone would be a threat to set plays, and that's what, especially if you get somebody like Carey who can whip them in, and St Mirren with Tanzer, particularly on the right hand side, he's normally got a really good left foot and can deliver things and put you under pressure. If you've got someone with good delivery and you've got that physical presence, Gordon, it's always a threat.
I agree, I like Tanzer. I think he's got a really nice left foot on him. He can put a nice delivery in there and give the opportunity for strikers to go and attack it.
Don't forget, the phone lines are open. We always open them a bit early on these 6-hour Sundays. It's a bit different, of course, because we've got games going on. We're having to spread them out throughout the show, but nevertheless, still give us a call, 01419511025, or you can tweet us at Clyde SSB. Get in touch.
If St Mirren's score is it going to be Mark O'Hara? He has a little knack of scoring against Rangers, doesn't he?
He does. I agree with that.
Yeah, just seen him in the pictures there. We had him in here. Lovely guy.
Go on then, get out of the way.
No.
What do you always say when you reference Mark O'Hara?
His girlfriend in the car park.
Jim Duffy earlier this season.
Yeah,
was it last season? Mark O'Hara came in to the show as a guest, but he left his girlfriend in the car. No, he was only in for 1 hour. Just left her sitting in the car park.
Apparently she's sitting outside Ibrox and now listening on the radio.
Gordon was outraged, and they are now where the people at St Mirren are aware that you mention this every time.
Oh, do they?
I've heard that they know fine well this is a running joke. So.
Oh, right, okay. A lovely boy, I've got to say. And by the way, he's a very, very talented player. Good player. He's been excellent for St Mirren.
Yeah, James Tavernier, the latest to have a go. Zach Hemming producing the save on this occasion. Not a bad start to the second half at all. Both teams having a fair bit of attacking intent.
But before the match started, Stephen Robertson said it's about belief if you're a St Mirren player, and clearly they believe it's not a lost cause. And the Rangers fans, Roger was speculating that there might have been jeers instead of cheers at half time because of the overall display given by Philippe Clement's side. So St Mirren haven't given this up.
Yeah, just earlier on there, you've seen Dessers again. He must be listening to taking it in and then playing
Done
the
well
ball
a couple of times, hasn't he? This
yeah,
second
because
half.
he's taking it in. You know, it's not a difficult thing to do. I always say try all the flicks and stuff like that when you're playing well and when the team's playing well, and when there's a bit of cohesion between you and your teammates. If you're not used to playing with them, if it's different players, you're not in the same wavelength. It's only natural. How many times do you hear someone saying like O'Reilly and Kyogo, are you in the same wavelength? Because you play together week in, week out.
Jim, see, since a young lad at Ibrox, see if we were playing and you tried a flick and it didn't come off, you got what for. Every shout was hold the ball up, hold it in and bring other players into play. And it's even the same to this day, and that's what you rightly said. I thought he was brilliant for a goal. The hold up play was great. Allowed Cantwell to get the support, and then obviously Seema pops up and bangs one into the back of the net. So yeah, it's important for Dessers to link that play as much as the minute he links that play, his next thought is get in the box and try and go on the end.
Well, if he's not a natural goal scorer, Gordon, he's got to add that's going to be a priority, isn't it? Because if you're a Chris Boyd, for instance, you know, you're a pet in the box, you're scoring goals for fun. And your link-up plays know the best, but you're every chance you'll score a goal. But if you're not a natural goal scorer, and Dessers doesn't seem to be that, then you have to add the other side of it, which is bringing your teammates in. But I mentioned you need to build partnerships, and that takes a wee bit of time and a bit of confidence. I mean, he's taking it in again there. I just think the manager's maybe said to him, like, nice and simple. He's done it great. He's held it up. He's laid it wide. He's got in the box.
Aberdeen actually had the ball in the net, McGarry scoring, but Willie Collum gives the foul for a challenge on David Marshall. Sockler and Marshall both competing for a Clarkson cross. Correct decision, says Fraser Wishart.
Well done, Fraser. He's got one thing right this afternoon. He'll be freezing, won't he?
Well, it was in Geneva. That's not exactly,
he'll be cold.
Mediterranean.
Listen, I've sat there many a year. It's not a comfortable place to be out in the cold.
You're up high Easter Road as well.
It's freezing.
Yeah, it's not bad though. It's
freezing. I was just talking about the stairs. I don't know if the stadium's actually high.
It is a bit of a workout getting up there, especially from the ground level, because you've got to go up the stairs initially just to go up to the stand, and then you've got the proverbial Everest climb up the stairs.
Someone told me that Airdrie is the highest stadium in Scotland in terms of above sea level.
Yeah. Did you not know that?
Well, I do know that because someone told me recently, but I was just double checking.
He's
100%. Yeah.
Is that a fact? Is
fact.
I like
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, if Gordon says 100%,
it must be. It's
well, the first thing I learned the history of the club when I went in. Right away.
Because my gut instinct tells me like
your first thought was, "Are we the highest stadium in the country?"
Throw Wilson off.
Oh, see, this could be. So, producer Chris googled it, and one search says Broadwood, but they must be similar. Cumbernauld and Airdrie are of a similar level above sea
not far
level.
away from each other.
But there you go. See, we ask all the burning questions on this show.
There's no senior. They're not in the Football League. Anybody Broadwood?
Oh, good fact.
So there you go.
There we go.
No done, Jam.
I don't know if that's enough to get us out of it, but you're right.
So Gordon's right.
Oh yeah, he knew that distinction.
I did know that.
He knew that loophole that Clyde don't play there anymore and all the rest of it. I don't think so.
But does Clyde play Hamilton?
Yeah.
Is it still Hamilton?
Yeah.
Train at Stenhousemuir, play at Hamilton.
Yeah.
Nomads.
Yeah, they are. They have been for a back and forward.
But they'll get Aberdeen there in the cup. That'll be after Darvo. Aberdeen can take nothing for granted.
Well, Aberdeen, as we mentioned today, is sitting third bottom. They really, although their performance levels seem to be okay, according to Barry Robinson, obviously not seen Aberdeen a lot, and we only see them in the bigger games, European games. The game against Rangers, the other side the week before against Celtic, they were well beaten. It could have been anything, but they need to get points on board, Gordon, because the longer you're down there, then the more nervy it becomes. You know, it's not even just the fact to finish bottom. Finishing second bottom, that playoff is an absolute nightmare for a team, and a team like Aberdeen should never be anywhere near there.
No. So they'll need to be careful. But another goal for Hibs, and it will be game, set, match for this afternoon.
Scottish football moves on so quickly, doesn't it? Fraser was reminiscing El Sacchio, remember that? Jim Goodwin, Lee Johnson. It was Jim Goodwin that paid the price of that night, but Lee Johnson didn't hang around too much longer. Two indifferent men in the dugout this afternoon.
Jim didn't even do the press, did he? He was walking across the pitch with the bag, with the back bin bag. See you later. And then, listen, Dundee United are doing well this year in the league, obviously out of 2 cups, but in the league they've been doing very, very well.
Dessers with the effort, Hemming with the save. Sorry.
No, well, that's good for Dessers in the sense that he's been a bit of a threat. I think just simple things, helping to set up the goal. As Hugh was saying, maybe the manager would have been thinking about it, but the fact is, it's just give him a little bit of confidence. And like any footballer, you need a bit of confidence just to help you relax and take part in the game without being a bag of nerves.
Go back to that Brendan Rodgers quote. The ambition and the intensity and so on. It's astonishing when you think about it. Where does that leave those who remained on the bench today that he couldn't even trust to bring on? What does he think about them?
Well, I think if you look at it, Hugh, the likes of Home and guys like that, I don't think they're not as good a players as Riley and stuff. So I think he knows that. Riley's like, listen, he scored a wonder goal. It's a phenomenal goal. And McGregor and stuff like that. So he just knows he's not going to improve the team by taking them off. He's better with a 80% Callum McGregor than for instance the boy Home at this moment in time. Maybe in the future, who knows? But certainly at the moment, he's going with his tried and trusted.
I don't think he made the substitution because I don't think he needed them after Home and Mikey Johnson. I thought he'd seen enough what they two brought to it. And I thought, I thought that when he's seen what the difference with Celtic sharpness and moving the ball quicker, he didn't need to make all these substitutions.
St Mirren are very much in this game. There's Ayunga again testing Jack Butland. Danilo is coming on. Will it be the end for Cyril Dessers just as he's starting to settle into the game, or will it be someone else?
Two up top, I don't see it at all. I would imagine that Dessers, you take. I think Jim's right. He's starting to get a little bit of confidence, but if you take out his role in the goal, which is very important, let's not be kidded, he's really offered nothing.
He's had one shot just a little minute ago. But the thing is, if you want to stick with the same system, it has to be Dessers.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even managers nowadays, they work with the analysis, the data, and sometimes they've already made their mind up pre-game that a player's coming off in an hour. How many times do we see it now? You can almost bank on it. 60-65 minutes, bang, some players get substituted. So maybe that was the case. Maybe Philip Clemons looked at it and went, after an hour, Dessers, you run yourself about for an hour and then I'll put Danilo on.
It's incredible nowadays, isn't it?
But it happens.
The data and we were talking about projected
XG
goals. Well, to be, I've got 1,000 goals in my, because I've got about 700 projected one. I was unlucky.
Your XG was 1,000.
Whatever XG stands for.
I did my own data. You get 5 minutes and then you're off.
Yes, confirmation of that change. Dessers off, Danilo on for Rangers. That's the first change of the afternoon. St Mirren haven't shuffled their pack yet.
The Rangers fans will not be able to rest easy until the second goal comes, if it comes, because it has the look of that kind of game. Rangers have been far from scintillating. St Mirren have hung in there. Only one act from Sima separates the sides, and there's scope for a draw.
Yeah, I think Danilo's got to show a little bit more. In the last couple of games up at Aberdeen and against Limassol, he was poor. So I think half an hour, he's really got to show that quality that he looked as if he had there, and give Rangers a focal point, be a threat. get in behind, get in, hold the play up. I think he's got a wee bit to prove to the Rangers fans from the last couple of performances.
Another good Aberdeen chance. Miovski hits the post with a volley from 8 yards. Possibly should have done better. Actually got a bit tasty there. A few heavy challenges. Boyle and Newell both went into the book. Shinnie didn't, but the Hibs fans felt he should have, so they got on the ref's back for that one. And it sounds quite feisty. That one's not over by a long shot either. Aberdeen with the chance there to level, but Miovski hitting the post from 8 yards out.
Well, we said Miovski's a good player. Well, just going from what Fraser would say, it looks as if he should score, so there's a chance. I don't know why a centre forward, Gordon, is passing the ball 10 yards out, 12 yards out, right in front of goal.
Yeah, great build up play with Rangers. McCausland,
don't ask him, he never passed it.
I know,
anyway,
out
from goal.
Yeah, McCausland was terrific there. Played a nice ball into Cantwell, nicely off. Yeah, you've got to hit that. Take that out of your feet and hit it. You're a striker, you're in the box. Be greedy, be selfish, be the man.
True touch. When he set it and hit it, he's, as I say, 12 yards out. Not far away from the between the posts. I think take one extra touch, you allow players to regroup, and that's exactly what happened. Again, just for me, centre forward, hit it, touch and hit. Here, touch, hit. No.
We have passed the hour mark, so still Rangers in front. They're good for their lead, but St Mirren are not out of this, not out of it at all. Stephen Robinson might think about shaking things up a bit for his team, trying to get back into this one.
I think it shows the length to which Rangers will need to go in January to bring in the Clement players, because he, like Brendan Rodgers, has been handed a set of players that are nothing to do with him, and Brendan Rodgers has said that he wants 4 quality players in January, and Rangers, this is a kind of mediocre Rangers. They never really excite you that much, and I think both Celtic and Rangers would like to have a good January.
I think the biggest problem, Hugh, is I totally agree with you. I think that both Celtic and Rangers fans are desperate for better quality under, obviously, Rangers under a new manager, to see what he brings in. But they've got that bigger squads that they have to try and get rid of players in January. I think that's their biggest job.
That feels to me like my abiding memory of every January window, or actually I'll extend that to every other transfer window. We always act like it's going to be much easier to clear players out than it is. Every single window we build up to it by saying, well, he can go, and he can go, and it very rarely happens because it's hard to find clubs and players want to stay.
But
with
also you've got a basic premise here that, look, I don't fancy him at all. Who wants him? Well, my attitude would be, well, if you don't fancy him, what makes him attractive to me?
But I also think players have got good contracts, and if you've got maybe a year or 2 years to go in your contract and you're on a healthy salary, you're not just going to walk out the door and say, well, because you don't like me, I'll go. They're going to either want something similar, or they're going to want the club to compensate them for going, and then they've got agents, and then whatever level they're going to go and try and play it. So there's so many variables, Gordon, that affects that, and that's the reason why invariably the vast majority of them stay there and see their contracts out, and then they move. So it's not easy. Clubs have to work hard sometimes to get players out, and there has to be a lot of negotiations. And in between times, the managers keep changing, so they keep bringing in new groups of players.
I feel like I personally should take some blame for this, since we had the debate about whether Miovski was in the discussion for best player outside of Glasgow. He's hit the post from 8 yards. He's now volleyed wide from 6 yards and should score. They've made a change in attack, but he's kept on. They've swapped his partners, as they often do. Sockler off and Duke on.
I don't mind that. See, he's a centre forward. I would much rather come off the pitch and say, missed a couple of good chances today, should have done better with that, than sit in the dressing room and think, I didn't have a sniff of goals. Now, you look at Dessers must be sitting in there in that dugout, try to look at his game this afternoon and go, well, I linked up for the goal. Apart from that, did I really influence this game? So he will be disappointed with his performance.
Yeah, I just think players now, it's different. Listen, we know it's different. The game's changed. Everything's evolving. But I've said to players, I've had discussions with players, have you said to your teammates, for instance, I've spoken to players, maybe say, like a centre forward, the ball's not come into the box, and I'll say, well, have you had a word with your teammates? Have you spoken to your teammates? Have you said to your wide players, are you going to put the ball in early because I'm making runs? And they've went, no. I say, well, you might think they know, but maybe they don't, or maybe they're following instructions. Have you spoken to the manager about? No. And you're thinking, why not? You know what I mean? Why don't you you speak to your teammates? I just think that's the way it is now. Everyone just looks after their own kind of positions now, and they don't really kind of involve themselves with their teammates.
They were old days that you were talking about, Jim, because I remember I was at Raith Rovers at this time. The lad Barry Wilson, yeah, Barry was a terrific winger, and he played in such a way. And as a centre forward, I was getting frustrated. And I remember saying to him one day at half time, put the ball in early. If you don't, I'm going to go on your back. If you put it on early and I'm not there, you have a go at me. And it ended up not bad.
What a motivational speaker you are.
Exactly.
Honestly, I love that.
I took all the glory. Told him
that sounds about right. That really does.
There's an arm match ball.
If Philippe Clement was thinking about a change, maybe Rabbi Matondo has had impact off the bench for Rangers this season. That would be the only kind of standout attacking sense, unless he fancies throwing in the much maligned Sam Lammers or
you would
Jose
imagine
Cifuentes.
Matondo from McCausland, wouldn't you? Just as a young kid again, just getting that strength in his legs, and as the game goes into the last 20 minutes, you would imagine pace coming on. St. Mirren got to take a risk, might leave a wee bit of more space, and somebody like Matondo's
I think McCausland's looked a little bit lively in the last 10 minutes.
It has gone.
I take on board what you're saying about
because
he
sees Rabbi Matondo warming up.
Could you see Lammers coming on after being cheered off?
Take Cantwell off. Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, well, Cantwell's had a couple of really good moves where he's picked the ball up in that central area, but his final ball has maybe let him down. But he's been, the type of player that you think he is, in terms of picking that ball up in the inside right, inside left positions, getting at opponents, driving at people.
Maybe this changes things.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 2, St. Mirren 0, Abdallah Sima 2. He's on a hat-trick already. He scored in Philippe Clement's first game in charge. He hadn't scored since leading into today, and now he has got a double. It was a ball through the middle, an easy finish, and the game looks like it is heading beyond St. Mirren. And in the other game as well,
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Same story. It's the hosts who've gone 2-0 up. Hibs have doubled their advantage. It's Martin Boyle's corner. Will Fish with the header, and that makes Aberdeen road back a lot longer indeed. But game beyond St. Mirren now, Hugh?
Without a shadow of a doubt. They've played bravely, given it their best shot, but it's done. And
check for offside, obviously. Should throw that in before we get too carried away.
And if the goal stands at Easter Road, then it's game, set and match for Hibs as well, because Aberdeen will not come back and score 3 times or even 2 for a draw. So we've got 2 home wins in our hands.
2 changes for St. Mirren anyway. Done for Taylor and Olusanya for Ayunga. But I guess that offside check hasn't come to anything, or it's taking its time. We expect Rangers to be 2-0 up. Goal stands 2-0.
Good day for Sima, getting back in. Just a ball through the middle. It's a good run. Tell you what, it's a very composed finish.
I've got to turn the ball if you can't.
I've got to give the St. Mirren keeper credit. He dived away right out the road so that Sima could just roll it in the corner. But good ball, good movement, and 2 very, very good goals from Sima this afternoon.
And Todd Cantwell, 2 assists. Yes, he maybe didn't mean the first one, but nevertheless the stats show.
But that's what I'm talking about, Gordon. Again, it's been that type of player likes to go on the half turn and likes to be positive. As a risk, you understand that sometimes you will lose the ball, but he gets on. He could play the ball back to his centre backs. He doesn't. He turns on the halfway line, and his first thought is, "Can I play the pass forward?" He plays a perfectly weighted pass. Seema's quick as we know, but he gets his first touch out his feet, and then he just bends it. Just nice, exquisite little side footer, curls it into the far corner. 2-0 Rangers. Should be game, set, match.
Yeah, you don't see St. Mirren come back from that.
No.
Look, it's not been vintage Rangers, but the most important thing is the 3 points, especially after watching Celtic go up to Perth and winning. So you've got to keep down that winning streak, keep that gap as tight as you possibly can. And it's been a good afternoon for Seema. Can he go and get a match ball?
Goldson goes into the book for a challenge on Olusanya, who is just on the pitch. St Mirren looking to try and salvage something from it. It does look a long way back, 18 in fact of the 90 to go, and they trail Rangers by 2-0. Same story Aberdeen. It's been we said it before that, you know, this season has had some nice moments in Europe, some good performances. The league table is a bit skewed because they've got so many games in hand over the teams round about them, but it looks like another defeat today and still much further down the table than Barry Robson would like.
Well, you know, a club of Aberdeen's size being 3 points off the bottom of the league is just unacceptable, or should be unacceptable to all concerned. So I don't remember who they've got midweek. Kilmarnock away?
At home.
Well, you know,
Derek McInnes.
Who knows?
They've actually played really well today, though, so that'll be frustrating. You know, missed some good chances, lost soft goals. That doesn't get you out of jail entirely.
They're a funny team, aren't they? They're a real funny team. I watched them.
I feel like some of the performances have been good.
In Europe the other night in the second half, I thought they were brilliant. I really did. And then you're thinking, right, they're going to kick on from that. We're listening to Fraser and Majowski's hit the post, missed a chance, and you're thinking, when you pressed that button, I thought 1-1. But they concede goals. That's the problem with Aberdeen, concede too many goals.
Fascinating midweek coming up then. You've got Rangers at Tynecastle, Hibs going to Celtic Park
on the back of 3 wins on the bounce, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost unheard of for Hibs.
Hearts,
4 wins on the bounce.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
4 wins on the bounce for Hearts, 3 for Hibs. Is that right? So very, very interesting midweek, because let's be honest, you know, Celtic have scored 3 tremendous goals today, but the manager has found flaws in the team, and Rangers have scored 2 goals.
Hibs. Hibs. Yeah. Today would be the third, and then it would be a draw before that as well. So. Not bad run.
Good run of form
today for Rangers. You know, same story. They've got the 2 goals without ever hitting any great heights. So it's a tense Wednesday night, Celtic Park and Tynecastle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Fraser was saying there that Hibernian, you know, are playing, he said, kind of old school 4-4-2, which is unusual. It'll be interesting to see if they go to Celtic Park and continue 4-4-2. That, I mean, it's brave, but that, in a sense, they've got nothing to lose, because they've had these 3 wins on the bouncer, and therefore they're going there with bags of confidence. So you go and maybe have a go. In that case, Celtic will be happy, because it won't be someone, you know, kind of everybody back behind
they did
the
it
ball.
in the home game and got something at Easter Road, didn't they? But like we said, it has to be done right, because they then I think they had tried it at Ibrox just before and got picked apart.
I think Celtic Park's a little bit different, because they you know, we know that the ball kids throw the ball onto the pitch quick, and they start the game quicker, and there's a wee bit more of a tempo, and it's allowed at Celtic Park, where it's maybe away from home, it's not quite as easy.
Penalty Aberdeen though, handball by Lewis Stevenson. I'm sure they will now check that to make sure of it, but a chance to certainly get back into it and maybe even spark a comeback.
Well, Majowski's a penalty taker, isn't he?
No, McGrath.
Was McGrath?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, you might be right. Yeah.
I think it is.
Right,
yeah. But is he still on the pitch? Did I hear you saying he gets subbed? Could be wrong. I could be hearing things that's coming up to Christmas. It's not a good month for me, December.
That's
but
right.
if he's on the pitch, he will take the penalty.
Yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, we're still waiting on it's not a VAR check.
Saved the penalty.
Who took it?
Saved. Majowski took it. He's had a terrible day.
But McGrath must be off then.
That was because Gordon wanted him as a player of the year.
Incredible. Bojan Majowski, he's been on fire recently.
You've jinxed him.
We've jinxed him. We have jinxed him.
You've jinxed him.
Low to the keeper's right. A decent save. Listen, if there's one man who
David
can save
Marshall,
a penalty under
yeah.
pressure, it's David Marshall. How could we forget?
You know it's not going to be your day now.
McGrath is still on, and Majowski took.
I cannot understand that, because I'm sure McGrath took the last one and calmly slotted at home.
David Marshall
Striker,
saving penalties, Some things never change.
I'm going to look up that.
Andy can boogie.
He can be. That was the great thing about yesterday, wasn't it? Because that night we got that outpouring of emotion, and it was great to go to a tournament, but we were in the draw as a playoff winner. We never actually got the draw. We never got to see Scotland's name get drawn out.
It happens to be, you know, if you're a bit like Wales just now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Scotland, you actually see Scotland's name, particularly when you play Germany in the opening fixture. It's a fantastic opening fixture. You know?
I always say, of all our pundits, Jim Duffy, you are the biggest Scotland fan. How exciting was that draw yesterday?
I just think it was a brilliant, and you know, we know that you know all the games are going to be difficult, but I think if you look at the draw with the teams you could have got, you think, well, that's not bad. It's not horrendous. Even Germany, who are, listen, a fantastic side, but in first game sometimes they get a wee bit nervous. So all of those things considered, I think it's a phenomenal draw. It was just great to see, as exactly what you said, Scotland's name coming out and getting drawn. I think it was Brian Laudrup was doing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just
I had to laugh
tremendous
when they interviewed Steve Clarke after, and of course, the first question is about playing the host nation in Munich. Opening game. How much more romantic, dramatic do you want it to be? And he's now changed his name by deed poll. His first name's now Ba, his second name's now Humbug. And he said, we need to play the game, not the occasion. So, you know, that kind of attitude has taken Scotland places under Steve Clarke. He makes you laugh. But what a manager he's turned out to be for us.
It's just the occasion, isn't it? If you accept you get to a major tournament, it's going to be tough. You might as well get a bit of prestige in there, and it doesn't come any more prestigious than opening game in Munich.
The Allianz Stadium, I mean, it's an unbelievable stadium. You know, the focus, you know, everybody, the spotlight. If you're a player at all, that's the game. That's the game of your dreams, really. Because let's be honest, we're not likely to be there playing in the final. So therefore, playing the first game, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we fret over the qualification group, and then when we win the qualification group or qualify with 2 games to spare, we fret over which pot we'll be in. And then when we get into that pot, we fret over the fact that we're Scottish. Germany.
Yeah, no, but it's more like you want a good draw every year with the Champions League. You know, if the Champions League comes out and you're a team from Scotland or a smaller team and you're in with Real Madrid and Man City, you're not going to qualify from the group. So I think it was nice to have a bit of prestige, but at the same time, you wouldn't have wanted to be. You wouldn't have wanted to be France, Denmark, Scotland, Italy.
No,
you know, it would have been great to be
Portugal,
there. But
it's decent. No, I think in terms of Hungary and so, I mean,
why did you just shout Portugal randomly at me there?
Because you don't think they're amazing.
No, rather than Germany, I'd have rather had Portugal in the
alright, as the weakest top seed for you. Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are, Jim.
No, listen, I think Germany's the perfect game for Scotland. You know, having the opening fixture, as I said, the Germans are, you know, got some tremendous players, but they could be a wee bit edgy because you know they haven't done so well in the last couple of tournaments, and you know there's a lot of pressure on them. So
just quickly, Bacchus, Grieve and Jameson all came on. McMenamin, Boyd Munson, Kilty went off, and then Matondo and Yilmaz for McCausland and Barisic.
I think we also add entertainment value off the park to the opening game, because there'll be who knows how many thousands of Scottish fans
in Munich
there.
anyway, you know, even though they don't get the tickets for the game, they'll be packed out.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But the actual ceremony, the whole opening day hoop they do, will be enhanced by having the Tartan Army guys there and girls.
Did you read Steve Clarke? I'm sure I saw a quote this morning saying he didn't watch France 98 because he was in a huff with Craig Brown.
He's not in a huff. He's good. Surely not. He's not in a huff. He doesn't go. This is.
No.
Why was he in a huff?
Because he always felt, and for me, it dogs him to this day, that he should have had more caps than he got, and I think he thought he should have been in that squad, and he wasn't. And
he also hadn't played for Scotland for years before that, but generally I think you are right. He mentioned it to us, didn't he? We went to interview him after he got appointed.
Good player, Steve Clarke.
Yeah, of course he was. He wouldn't have been at the places he was, but it lives with him. It's still in his deepest subconscious, and he's 60 years old now.
What Scottish teams did he play for?
St.Mirren.
Then he went to Chelsea.
Where else?
I think that was it. Because obviously he went to Chelsea and finished there doing a bit of playing coaching, then went to Newcastle with Hewlett and came back to Chelsea.
But he has that little thing at the back of his mind that I think you get 8 caps. I think
six.
Right, but he clearly felt it should have at
Who was
least
the right
gone
back at
into
that time?
to
Hugh? I
double
can't
figures.
remember. I'm not great with my Scotland caps.
Well,
would-
to be,
in that-
at
in
what
that
point
era?
he spanned a lot. He made his St Mirren debut in 82 and didn't.
Oh, 82.
Fraser Wishart pointed out he was 35 in 1998 as well.
was
But
gonna
I'm
say
sure I
that.
saw that this morning. Some quote that he was in the huff.
Is he not just been a wee bit tongue in cheek? He
Didn't
was
watch it.
35.
What a day for Son at Spurs. He put Spurs 1 up at the Etihad, and then he scored an own goal to make it Man City 1, Spurs 1. Pit ball against Ange Ball. How many inverted fullbacks can you squeeze onto one pitch? They'll all be banging into each other.
Centre halves again to midfield. You know, there'll be no defenders. There should really be 8 each if you want to call it that. It should be just a game of attack.
We'll batter them, Jim. We'll batter.
Guardiola did say that Ange made football a better place.
He likes him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's taken to big Ange's, certainly.
Yeah, but everybody
Made
loves
an
Ange down there.
Yeah, an
They're
impression.
all loving him.
Listen.
The press love him. The
I'd
fans
al-
seem to like him.
I had a lot
Mind
of
you-
time for him in Australia when I met him.
Today could be his 4th defeat in a row. We'll see how the love is then.
Yeah,
But I think
that's all
people are,
begin changed.
people are understanding the amount of injuries.
the
I mean, they're
injuries are
absolutely
incredible.
battered by. I mean, injury state, absolute key players, not just one or two. You know, half a team, probably more than half a team. So yeah, I think there's a little bit love left for him yet, Hugh. I think he's got a wee bit more of a honeymoon period than some managers might have got because of the style, because they're attacking, and I think that's what the fans, the Spurs fans, were desperate to see a manager who really, emphasised,
Speaking of that,
playing attacking football.
that draw, how many Scotland fans do you think spent a lot on flights and accommodation to Germany last night?
Well, they said they went
Oh,
up
a few.
600% the flights, didn't they? Which is just outrageous. They should have been
600%.
the flights, because they know.
We're in a camper van, boys.
Listen, there'll be that many that will travel from various parts of they'll go to France or wherever, and they'll just all drive there. But you can guarantee there'll be at least 30,000, if not more, in Munich on that opening day. How many get tickets for the games? Probably a fraction of that, but there'll be at least 30,000 in Munich.
It's like Celtic in Seville in 2003 and Rangers in Seville when they played Eintracht. They'll just go, well, you can watch the match or not. They'll
Yeah,
just
the fan
go.
zones.
Are you planning on going, Jim?
I don't think so.
Nah,
No,
call yourself a fan.
unless I've got a job. I don't think I'd be. I don't think I could afford to go. You've got to, But if you're working, then fair enough. If you want to go there, I would love to go. I have to say that I would love to go.
Some experience. wouldn't it?
Any of the games, I would love to go. I mean, I've been at the Euros before doing pro license stuff. Going and watching the games and analysis. 2002, I think it was, all these years ago.
Not the World Cup
Belgium
year, but-
and Holland. But I would love to go to
I was at
Scotland.
Scotland, Switzerland,
Scotland,
Aston Villa,
yeah, absolutely.
pitch. Coyster scored
Yeah.
Craig Brown, 96.
I think that was the last time Scotland played Switzerland, wasn't it?
Yeah, great goal. What a goal
Get
that was. Got to
reunited.
say from McCoy.
And I know that everyone is looking at, performance level, who's going to make the squad, who's not, but also fitness wise, you might be interested to note that Angus Gunn played for Norwich today, the first time since the 21st of October.
And Lammers going on.
So Steve Clark will be happy with that one. Yes, Sam Lammers comes on along with Dujon Sterling as well. Quite an interesting change. So Cantwell and Tavernier off, Connor Goldson the captain. I was going to say Rangers possibly need to do a bit more of this. They maybe need to use James Tavernier, rest James Tavernier a bit more, and then I realised there's only 5 minutes left, so it's hardly a massive gesture, but there we go.
Yeah, but it's a rest.
It's still unusual for him to come off.
Yeah, just giving the lads a bit of 5 minutes plus VR time.
This is where the way you impact a game can be measured in a couple of different ways. If you're talking about that eye test and dominating a game and taking it by the scruff of the neck, I don't feel like the eye test this has been a brilliant performance by Todd Cantwell, but he can come off the pitch and say, I set up both goals and everything's rosy and his confidence will be good, and it vindicates the decision to play him in his best position.
Well, I think he has played a lot better in there. I don't think he was brilliant, but he was good. He was good. I think he had moments in the game where he was creative, he was explosive, he was positive. I think that's what everybody knows he has in his locker. He's not a guy who's going to track fullbacks back and going for tackles. We know he's still a wee bit soft when he gets challenged, but get him on the ball, he can create, and that's what he's done today. And even though we don't think it's an actual assist in the first goal, it's the fact is he was in and around the box, Gordon. He was up there to support his striker, and that ultimately affected the situation to get the goal. So I think he's had a good performance, and I think he's shown the manager, really, if you're going to play me, that's where to play me.
Yeah, I think you can be happy with afternoon's work.
Brilliant pass for the second goal.
Yeah, and listen, the man of the match probably Seema. 2 terrific goals, 2 good finishes, 2 different finishes. Do him the world of good. That's his confidence.
I think he's got 11 goals, Seema. I mean, if you actually finished the season with 11 goals from a wide play, you think that's a good return.
Yeah.
You know, if you finish the season with 11 goals from a winger, you think that's good. I mean, he's replacing Ryan Kent. How many goals did Ryan Kent score? So 11 goals is a good return. So yeah, he's had a bit of a barn spell up to today, but overall you have to say he has been a positive signing.
Is he a loanee?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Brighton.
Yeah,
Seagulls.
Brighton for the Seagulls.
I'm amazed.
That's how good you are.
No. We had so much quality that we could let 1 or 2 go.
You get Matoma there, isn't he, who's been brilliant.
He's not bad.
So, but I think if you looked at, if you take Seema just to himself, you have to say that is a good sign. That is really positive, scoring that amount of goals and up before the turn of the year.
David Marshall, man of the match, which perhaps tells its own story about how that game's gone. Hibs winning 2-0, but the goalkeeper has had a busy afternoon. Go on then, you've done nothing but bore us about the attendance at Easter Road in that one game that you went to. What are you going for today?
I'm going for 17,246.
16,592. It's a bit cold. You've got to take that into account. A few extra bodies just.
I was unlucky.
Staying at home. Zach Hemming with the save there from Sam Lammers. Wondering if it is a kind of ideal time. You put him on at 2-0. There's not the same pressure. You can maybe get in on the goals now.
Look at Danilo working, chasing, pressing. That's what the fans want to see. Even when you're 2-0 up and there's only a few minutes to go, you want to see people giving it everything. I think the Rangers fans can respond to that. I mean, I know a lot of them have already probably made their way home and the game's done, but I think that's better. And St Mirren are a difficult side to play against, so a very comfortable 2-0 win. I know Jack Butland had a couple of saves, but overall you have to say, Hugh, that's it's a very professional, not like flair and everything perfect, but I mean, I think a very, very solid Rangers performance today.
Yeah, like Celtic, you remember the finishers. Between them, they've scored 5 terrific goals today, and 38 game championship. Every game can't be scintillating, and there have been moments at Perth and Ibrox that have been far from scintillating, but 5 tremendous goals, 3 points each. On we go.
3 minutes added at Ibrox, 7 minutes at Easter Road. Does it matter?
No,
too late.
Well, you've seen the proof today down in England, Liverpool 87-88, but have Aberdeen got that in their locker against Hibs at Easter Road in front of 16,000?
After a European night on Thursday, they just probably don't have the legs, they don't get the energy, Gordon, to turn it to give it a final go.
I don't see it, but good one for Hibs. Absolutely terrific one for Hibs. So Aberdeen need to start picking up points. We've got a couple of difficult games coming up, and then obviously the cup final against Rangers.
Well, that's really around the corner now. So
17th, isn't it?
You've very quickly got to pull yourselves together, because the old argument about the try harder against Rangers, that doesn't work in cup finals.
It does if you're playing Rangers.
No,
but I think
unless you're 3 down,
Aberdeen have to try and get a wee bit of confidence from somewhere. They can't just hopefully it clicks into gear in a cup final. So the next couple of games they need a positive result before they get to that cup final in a couple of weeks' time.
I'm just looking at the league table. Celtic is on top, 39 points. Aberdeen are 26 points behind them. We've got 5 big teams: Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen. 26 points between Celtic
but
and
Aberdeen have got a game in hand here. So you've got to take that into consideration.
The difference in bank balance will do that to you, I suspect.
Yeah, but that, and the amount of games I've played, the goal shouldn't be that big. I don't think that, as many. I think if you're near the end of the season, you might go fair enough, but not pre-Christmas.
No.
Rangers fans just seeing this one out, enjoying it. What they're seeing so far, 2-0 and maybe a minute or so to go at the most, a bit longer at Easter Road, but I don't think any late surprises. Don't forget the phone lines have been open for the majority of the afternoon. It is a bit more difficult when the games are ongoing, but we will fully kick off the phone-in section of the show when these finish. So whatever you're thinking, whether it is Celtic's performance, Celtic's result today, Rangers, Hibs, whatever else you've witnessed over the weekend, or even Scotland's Euro draw, 0141 951 1025. Why not try and get your call in right now, actually, and we'll get it lined up and get you on as soon as this one finishes.
So I think Rangers got a corner in the last minute. So
it's actually done. No, it's done already. Let's go to Ibrox and speak to Roger.
Rangers 2, St Mirren 0. The tannoy inside Ibrox has just advised supporters to take care on the icy pavements outside the stadium. Inside there were no slip-ups by Rangers. 2 goals for Abdallah Sima, 2 assists for Todd Cantwell and 3 points for Philippe Clement. It was not fancy at times, Gordon, but Rangers made the breakthroughs when they needed them. The gap to Celtic is back to 8 points with a game in hand, and they go to third place Hearts on Wednesday night now in much better spirits. It was pedestrian for long spells in the first half. Cyril Dessers heading into Zach Hemming's arms from an early James Tavernier corner. Moments later, Tavernier to Dessers again, this time with a shot wide in the near post. St Mirren were far from just passengers in that first half. Jonah Ayunga just missing a ball across the face of goal from Scott Tanser, and Jack Butland called into service with a diving save to deny Caelan Boyd months before half time. But in stoppage time at the end of that first half, Rangers got the breakthrough with a terrific goal. It was started with the captain Tavernier deep inside his own penalty box. He played it to Connor Goldson. He dinked a ball to Ross McCausland on the right hand side, fed to Dessers in the channel, knocked inside to Todd Cantwell, and just as he was ready to pull the trigger, in came Sima, who stole it off his toe and slammed a right foot shot past Hemming for the breakthrough. He scored the first goal of the Clement reign against Hibs. He also scored in a 3-0 win at Paisley under Stephen Davis. It's now 10 for the season for the winger, and he set Rangers on the path to the 3 points. St Mirren stayed in the game in the second half. Ayunga twice testing Butland, and at the other end Dessers forcing Hemming into a save from an angle. He only lasted an hour, Dessers, before being replaced by Danilo, and 10 minutes later it was 2-0. Cantwell again the provider, a routine through ball down the middle. Sima raced onto it and an easy right foot finish past Hemming to seal the points. That meant an early break for Tavernier, for Barisic, for Canwell and McCausland, probably with Tynecastle on Wednesday night in mind. It wasn't great at times. The result will do Clement fine. Rangers 2, St Mirren 0.
Go on then, Rangers fans, what did you make of that? 01419511025. How would you sum it up? How pleased were you with the win? What stood out in a good sense? Was there anything that still needs worked on? What did you make of Todd Cantwell? Back in the team, back in his normal position, and 2 assists. Dessers got his chance from the start. Did he take it, or did the team still look much better with Danilo in attack? Anything at all that you took away from the game at Ibrox? Many of you will be jumping in the car or on the train or getting back in the bus. Why not give us a call? 01419511025. St Mirren fans, where did it go wrong? It wasn't that bad a performance, I don't think you would say. You weren't far out of the game and you had your moments, but what could have been better? 01419511025. We are nearly done in the game at Easter Road as well, so we'll get a full-time report there from Fraser Wishart. But unless there is any last minute surprise, I think we all know it's going to be an a Hibs victory in the end there. So if you've got thoughts on that one, you can do. And of course, it's been a long old Sunday. If we think back to lunchtime, Celtic not very convincing in the first half, but a great second half showing, and it means Brendan Rodgers' side win by 3-1. So again, what did you take away from that game? Phone us right now, 01419511025. It's full time Easter Road.
Aberdeen 2, Hibernian 0. What a strange day for Aberdeen as their season continues to baffle everybody around Aberdeen as a football club. On the face of it, 2-0 sounds like a comfortable win for Hibs, but far from it. It was actually a really good performance by the Dons, but they lost 2 soft goals had several great chances, including a Majorski penalty, and missed them all. And a combination of poor finishing and really vintage goalkeeping by David Marshall was outstanding all day. Have got the points for Hibernian. Goals from Bent in the first half, Fish in the second half. The difference between the teams, Hibs were decent and the teams were separated. Had a break by that Ventit goal on 18 minutes. Dalton's back 3 actually got a warning in the first minute. A long ball by Fish over the top. Boyle's pace got to the ball first. His low shot was saved by Ruse at the front post, but the back three of Dons didn't heed that warning. And in 18 minutes, Marshall kick out was misjudged by Jensen completely. Rubezic wasn't covering. He was caught standing watching, and Boyle ran through 1-on-1 with Roos, and he squared to Ventit to tap into the empty net. But Aberdeen had their chances. Jensen and McGrath brought out great saves from Marshall. Their best chance was when Shinnie squared the ball across the 6-yard box. Majorski should score at the back post. A brilliant save by Marshall, and the post and the ball was scrambled away. Hibs then started the second half well. Good defending by Dons, a number of crosses and corners. Levitt shot just over, but after that it was almost all Aberdeen for the second half. They had the ball in the back of the net after 60 minutes when Marshall and Sockler clashed, going for a Clarkson cross. It was a clear free kick when McGarry scored and put the ball into the empty net, but Willie Collum said no goal. But that was the start of a really good spell for the Dons. McGarry then blazed over to a really good position where he's set up by Shinnie, and Dons continued that good spell. And a great chance in 63 minutes. Richard Jensen with a diagonal pass. Majorski came in at the back post. Volley from 8 yards. It hit the post, but he really should have scored. And 2 minutes later, Devlin whipped in a lovely cross to the front post. Majorski again with the volley. Really good contact, but his shot was a yard wide, and he really should have scored. And they were made to pay for all these misses. 2-0 to Hibs on 70 minutes, and again another simple goal and a poor goal from an Aberdeen perspective. Boyle with the corner. Fish arrived at the back post. Powerful free header into the back of the net from 6 yards. But Dons had the chance to get back into the game. 77 minutes. Handball given against Lewis Stevenson. Penalty kick, and it was Majorski, not McGrath, that stepped up. But to sum up Majorski's day, his shot was saved low to his right by David Marshall. Decent save, but not the best penalty either. There's still time for Marshall to deny Jack Milne, the young sub, Conor Barron, the other sub, and Leighton Clarkson. A brilliant performance by David Marshall, and Hibs now are on the tail of St.Mirren and Hearts above them. Improvement under Nick Montgomery continues, but Barry Robson will wonder how he didn't get at least a point from this game. Full time Easter Road to Burnley 2, Aberdeen 0.
And it's that time after the game where you get to have your say, so let us hear it. 0141 951 1025. Ibrox will be clearing out. You're just jumping in the car, as we said. Why not give us a call and let us know what you made of it? The good stuff, the not so good stuff, the bits in between. We want to hear it all from you. Todd Cantwell back in the number 10 position, 2 assists for him. What did you make of it? You look at Desser's been given a start. Did he take his chance? There was changes in the centre of defence, perhaps we didn't see too much of them. What did you take away from it? St Mirren fans, you as well, what could you have done better today? 0141 951 1025. Call us right now, in the same number to you Celtic fans. You've had a couple of hours for the dust to settle. How do you look back on McDermott Park? Is it all about just being a good win in the end and a good second half showing with some stunning goals? Or do you still have some worries or concerns about the first half? Let us know. Either way, 0141 951 1025, and we'll take your call next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Fault and non-fault insurance specialist. Robert will even pay your excess. It's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
The full-time picture in the Scottish Premiership on a Sunday evening is Rangers 2, St Mirren 0, Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0, and St Johnstone 1, Celtic 3. Until 6 o'clock we're here to look back on it all, but we need your help. 0141 951 1025. It's always a simple question. What did you make of your team's performance today? Pick up the phone and let us know, in the company of Gordon Dalziel, Jim Duffy, and of course Hugh Keevins. Alan is a Rangers fan, first through. How would you sum today up, Alan?
At the end of the day, the 3 points that matters more than anything there. But I thought we were poor right up till we scored in the end of the first half there. I don't know what it is. We blew it last week against Aberdeen. We blew it when I was there on Thursday night there, and I thought we couldn't get any worse, but we did. There's just something was lacking there altogether. But once I got the goal and they come out in the second half, but midway through the second half, I thought there was a lot of nervousness there. And then we scored the second goal and it kind of relaxed it a bit there. As I said, at the end of the day, it's the 3 points that matters more. But we've got to get into that winning mood. We've got big games coming up towards the end of this month now, especially, well, Hearts on Wednesday night, and we've got the cup final coming up a week on Sunday, 2 weeks' time. So I don't know what to do, what they can do here, but I'm sure the manager will have it all sorted out by the time the cup final comes.
How important was that Sima goal and the timing of it then, if you felt it was perhaps even worse than some of the performances you've seen up until that point?
I thought that up till they scored there, I thought we were really poor. We just couldn't seem to knit two balls together at all there. Two passes, stringing the passes together properly there. But once we scored, it kind of took the pressure off. And the second half we come out, we tried to get the second goal. But St Mirren, don't get me wrong, St Mirren, they did try because they had to open up after a 5-6 man defence. They opened up there. That kind of gave us a bit of chance as well. But until we scored the second goal, I thought there was a bit of nervousness in there.
Is that a fair summation? Took Rangers a while, but once they got going, it was comfortable in the end.
Yeah, see, Alan's a long-standing Rangers fan. He's seen the good times and the bad times, and he knows what they look like, and he knows when he's looking at mediocrity. And right now he's seeing mediocrity, but he's happy that his team get there in the end, and they did score 2 goals, and that's the Celtic story as well. I think there's a lot of mediocrity about, but they've scored 3 very good goals. So the two of them are building towards that meeting with each other at Celtic Park on the 30th of December. But Alan is not being fooled. He knows he's seen much better Rangers teams than the one he's looking at now.
Yeah, I think that you're not always going to dominate football matches for 90 minutes. You want more goal threat in the periods, but it's about the clinical moments, it's about the important moments, and Rangers scored 2 terrific goals today. The first goal was an absolutely brilliant goal, from a footballing perspective, right from the edge of their own penalty box all the way up to the finish by Sima. And the second goal was real quality from Todd Cantwell, and a lovely finish, run and finish from Sima. So I think that there are moments there where Rangers showed that they do have that quality, but they've got to produce it more often for the fans. And then I think the atmosphere at Ibrox will change a little bit more. Then there's a little bit more excitement. I think at this moment in time, the fans are waiting and the players delivering. There's no the same connection that there was maybe in the first 3 or 4 games under Philip Clement.
I think Rangers fans have got to be patient. New managers come in. It's all right saying you want attractive football. Michael Beale couldn't get attractive football out some of the Rangers players. This new manager certainly got a tune. There's no doubt in that. He's winning games. Probably a disappointing result on Thursday night. But you need to be patient in January. Let him get his own players in, style of football, how he's going to play. Today, for me, simply was you were up against a St Mirren team, well organised, well drilled, going to make it very difficult for you. Make sure you get the 3 points first and foremost. The performance first half wasn't the greatest, probably the icing the cake. The goal just before half time takes a bit of pressure off, and Sima, 2 goals today will do his confidence the world of good.
Alan, what about Sima? How do you feel about him? He had that brilliant goal scoring run mid-September to mid-October, then hadn't scored in 8, but then gets a double today. What do you think of him?
Well, I actually like him there. That's 11 goals now he's scored. And he's only on loan from Brighton, if I remember correct.
Yep.
There. And I think I would buy him. I would have him there because looking at what we've got there for Michael Beale, there, the players that he thought was going to be absolutely fantastic, was going to do us, make us champions there, and they haven't shown at all there. But Sima, he's scoring the goals here, which matters more than anything there. So I like him. In fact, I would like to see him staying here at Ibrox.
We don't need to decide now, Hugh, but it's a fun hypothetical game as it stands. Can you see Rangers in a position where they want to try and make that happen? Yes, I accept. Don't know what it would cost and all the rest of it, but just, in theory, based on his contribution so far.
I would agree with Alan that it'd be a handy man to have about the place on a permanent basis. But one of the interesting factors associated with the January transfer window is who will have to go at Ibrox in order that Rangers can afford to bring in new players, because Celtic are cash rich, but Rangers are not in that position. So Sima at the moment may be out of their league in terms of finance.
Yeah, like I say, I get there's an actual factual way of looking at it and things that have to happen. Like I said, on a purely footballing basis, if we were talking computer game territory, Gordon, would you keep Sima? Do you think, is he offering enough?
Oh yeah, I think Jim made a good point. If you've got a winger that gives you maybe 11, 12 goals a season, you're probably happy with that. He's going to add to that, there's no doubt. We're only in the beginning of December. If he keeps fit, then he's certainly going to get by the 15 mark, and if you're doing that, then I'm sure you're worth a place in the team. But it goes down to financial situation. He's probably on decent money at Brighton as well. What Brighton would look sort of a fee. So there's a lot of hurdles to go over before that happens.
Todd Cantwell started, Alan, and he was back in his more familiar role. He set up both goals. What did you make of his contribution?
I thought that he was in the right position now, because he doesn't play in the wing. He was out of position. It was disappointing when he got taken off on Thursday night there. It's a bit of embarrassment for him, and the crowd certainly let the manager know how they felt about it. But he was in his right position, and I think he played a lot of good football the other day, because he knows where he wants to play, and that's where he was, and he was dominant where he was playing.
Again, you talk about moments, Jim, maybe up until the goal. We spoke about it for Sima. Up until the goal, maybe wasn't quite clicking for Todd Cantwell, and then even if he does overrun it, even if it's not a deliberate assist, he gets one, looked more at it second half, threads that nice pass that you enjoyed. Yeah,
but it's because he's in the right area. He's up in an advanced area where he can go and support. He can see the play in front of him. He's not like a winger where he's standing out there with a fullback in front of him, or knowing when to come in and allow the fullback to go. So he's in a more comfortable position to be effective. And as I said, in games where you're not creating a host of chances, it's how effective you are in those vital moments. And Rangers were very effective in those pivotal moments, and Todd Cantwell was instrumental in that.
Yeah, I think every Rangers fan leaving Ibrox this afternoon will be in the same opinion, that's Cantwell's position. Sometimes I think he lacks a little bit of discipline, because he's one of these players that just wants to go on the ball all the time. He wants to make things happen. That's okay, but when you're playing in a team, sometimes you've got to sacrifice, yourself occasionally, so that other people can pick up the ball in different positions. But I thought he did a decent game today. I don't think he was brilliant, but a good assist, especially for the second goal. That's a terrific pass, because Sima doesn't even need to break his stride. All the balls, the weighted balls, terrific for him. First goal, Sima decides, I'm taking over, quite rightly so, and bangs it in the back of the net. But I think that going forward, I think everybody would agree, if Cantwell's got to be in the side, he's got to be playing in that role.
Do you think this is the start of that happening, Alan, that Cantwell plays there and Lammers maybe starts amongst the subs?
Yes, I would say so. See, the trouble is now, because now we've got January sales coming up there, we can't get rid of some of these players because they're on a lot of money. That's the biggest worry there. Who the Comutt's going to get in now, and it's all going to be financial. That's the biggest worry that worries me there, because I don't think we can get rid of anybody unless we put them out on loan, like Sir Lamas, Dessers and that there. That's the biggest worry there, is how much we've got to spend to get players to come in January.
Be interesting to see the new director of football, who starts work on the 2nd of January. He comes in with a whole fresh perspective, and being from the Netherlands, he will have a great deal of information about players there. I wouldn't think it would be too hard to imagine there might be a Dutch player or two.
Said that under Giovanni van Bronckhorst, it didn't happen, didn't we? We used to get calls on that all the time. Rarely works out that way.
Yeah, but we must give the man the benefit of the doubt, and he will know of bargains that can be found. But Alan knows, and all the Rangers fans know, that this is a delicate financial balancing act, that Rangers don't have money to throw about.
You'll certainly have targets, Hugh, but I think there's a lot of deadwood there. that needs moved on. And listen, Jim said it earlier in the programme, if you're sitting there in a good contract, you ain't going to give that up. There's absolutely no chance that's going to happen. Might cost Rangers some money. They might have to put a lot of players out on loan and maybe pick up half of their wages, while the other club, they pick up half of it as well.
Before we worry about that though, in terms of the players that are in the building already, Alan is hoping that that's Todd Cantwell sort of back in the team, or back in that position. And Sam Lammers has had a lot of faith shown in him by two managers now. You just wonder if this is the start of a spell out of the side.
Well, I mean, again, we're speaking about Todd Cantwell, but it's about a squad, and the Rangers need a strong squad, because they need players that can change the game, it can affect the game. No one's really talking about Tom Lawrence today. Tom Lawrence, everyone's thinking he's the guy that's going to link up the play. He's going to be the guy that's going to threat when he's fit and healthy. But he dropped it today, and I thought he had a quietly effective game, but he certainly didn't look as comfortable in that role. So it's about Philip Clement's still finding out about his team. He's only been there a couple of months tops, 8 weeks or something. So he's still finding out about his players. He's still finding out the strengths and weaknesses. I think he'll still try one or two little things with one or two players in the next few weeks until January. Then he said a bit better of an assessment, and he'll then say, right, these are the things we need. I think he'll need a centre forward, and I think he'll maybe need another wide player, because I don't think he's overly keen with the ones he's got at the moment.
How much did Dessers take his chance, Alan? He obviously didn't get in the score sheet. He held it up at times, I think the guy said, in the second half. What did you make of him?
What was that, sorry?
Cyril Dessers.
Oh, Dessers, I'm still not sure of him. A lot of Rangers fans all round us as well, they're still not sure as well. But if he's given the chance, I think if he can start scoring goals, it gives his confidence back there, and it probably do him a world of good being in the team. But right now, I'm not too sure about him.
Did it look better when he started keeping it a bit simpler, Gordon?
Yeah, I think he's got to take a lot of credit for the first goal, opening goal, which was an important goal, especially the timing of it. He just looks like a lad that's in the wrong movie just now for me, Gordon. I do agree with that. If you score goals, of course, it's got to bring you confidence, 100%, especially in front of 49,000+ Rangers supporters at Ibrox. But he doesn't seem that kind for me. He's not an actual goal scorer. Today, early on, he was flicking things. Then he had good play holding the ball up. Second half, a little bit better. He's not doing enough to stay in the team. I think everybody would agree with that. It would need a big turnaround for, I think, the Rangers fans to change their opinion on Dessers.
Yeah, neither Celtic nor Rangers could be called a joy to watch at the moment. They have their moments, and they have scored 5 very good goals today between them, but there's a lot of players at both clubs that don't excite, and January could be a very busy window.
Suppose today though, Jim's a good one, because Dessers plays and he does play a part in the goal, and Rangers win, so there's no drama and there's no inquest. And yes, well, it wasn't vintage from him, perhaps fine, it doesn't have to be, and he played a part, and you hope it's a platform if you're Philippe Clement.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for us, we're dissecting the game on a game-by-game basis.
Yeah.
So we're looking at today. The manager will have to look at it over a bigger period, a longer period, and obviously training and that as well, and the mentality. How does he cope with playing for Rangers? The expectations, coping in front, as Gordon says, 50,000 people at Ibrox. Can he handle it? Is he a big enough character to take that on his shoulders and revel in it, or does he freeze a little bit and does he go uptight? So all of those things have to be found out, and Philip Clement still, as I said, still finding out about his players. But on today's performance, I think he done okay. I think he done some really good things, and as I said again, had an impact on the game that Rangers ultimately won relatively comfortably.
Thank you very much to Alan on the line. Do you agree or disagree with what you're hearing? Give us a call, 01419511025. You can tweet us as well at Clyde SSB. I've had a message in from Colin. He took his son Louis to his first ever Rangers game today, so he's happy with that win. Certainly, tell you what, freezing temperatures that for your first Rangers game.
Yeah, Louis will be delighted.
Louis had the long johns on.
Here's your Christmas present, son.
The boy must have been misbehaving.
Taken out in that weather. But yeah, usual number if you want to give us a call, and please do tweet us your thoughts on today's game. Of course, before we head off at 6, we'll get the thoughts of Philippe Clement. It'll be interesting to hear what he made of that today, and some very strong words from Brendan Rodgers earlier. So let's revisit events at McDermott Park as well. Celtic fans, what did you make of that one?
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Accident not your fault? You'll be back on the road within 24 hours. The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Jim Duffy, Hugh Keevins and Gordon Dalziel are here. It's 0141 951 1025. We're looking back on the 3 big games today and anything else that you fancy. So get in touch. Rangers fans, what did you make of the game at Ibrox? A 2-0 win, a double from Sirma, a double of assists from Cantwell. Celtic fans, yours was a bit more dramatic. 1-0 down at the break, a really poor goal to concede, 3 excellent goals to win it, and some strong words from Brendan Rodgers at the end as well. So give us a call no matter what it is you're thinking tonight. Let's hear it. Stuart is a Rangers fan. How are you, Stuart?
Good evening, panel. How are you? All right?
All good. What are you thinking tonight?
Very happy, very happy. Definitely. The manager was correct with Cantwell the other night, definitely. He's seen with the dive, he warned him, he probably warned him in the dressing room that we don't know, took him off. He's learned his lesson, you could see it today. The young boy, of course, he's going to be some player. Do you not think, panel, he picks him into Brian Laudrup?
Oh, wow. Talk about heaping some pressure on Ross McCausland.
That's a statement.
I was waiting to hear what name we got there.
If I make a statement like that, I'm accused of being hysterical. So give him a chance. He wouldn't be playing today if Clement had wider options available, because he's tried to tell everyone he's too young to be playing.
I don't know. He seems to like giving him his chance, Ross McCausland. He's giving him a new deal as well.
Yeah, of course. But he did say that it's too early to expect him to play every midweek and weekend. But anyway, he's an undoubted talent. Of that, there is no doubt. But you can't start saying he's the new Brian Laudrup. I mean, give him a chance.
Yeah.
Right, if we wind in the Brian Laudrup stuff a touch, were you impressed with him today? Is that a fair question to ask you, Jim Duffy, Gordon Dalziel?
Yeah, mate, listen, McCausland, we like him because of his natural enthusiasm. He plays like we would all like to think you could play. They always say the expression like a kid in the playground, because he's positive. He's an old-fashioned dribbler. He likes to get at people. The first thing he thinks when he gets the ball is, I'm going to take you on. Everybody likes to see that. It's a dying art, because everybody, the game's now about pass possession. He picks the ball up, I'm going to get at you. Sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he gets it wrong. Decision making, you still got to add that to his game. But in terms of exciting the fans and being positive, and I don't think I'm sure Stuart will be the same. Fans love to see players come through the ranks. They love to come through the system, being part of the club and showing that they love playing for Rangers, and that's exactly what McCausland's doing just now. He's exciting the fans. Yeah, he's got a bit of work to do, of course he is, but nevertheless, a real top prospect, and hopefully he just keeps developing, nice and steady. But let's take the fact that you have to the comparisons out of it.
You have to be amazed by the fact that Michael Beale never struck him in.
But that happens. You look at Forrest with Neil Lennon. Neil Lennon looked at Forrest, brought him in.
Also, this was the whole point of the change, isn't it? Michael Beale didn't really. Well, Philippe Clement wants more width. He wants wingers.
Yeah.
He's kind of had to go and look there.
I think McCausland brings a lot to Rangers. I really do. I know he's young, and people say, well, we've just got to be careful. Look, he's a young lad. He wants to play every game. Get him out there. He excites fans for me. I think the fans like watching him. I think Jim's right. He's positive. He goes at people. He's the one thing I'm very impressed with him is when he's running with the ball, he's always in control of it. He's always in control of it. I think he's such a natural talent. I think he's got a massive future ahead of him.
I mean, Stuart, Brian Laudrup, we need to hit pause on that, don't we?
No, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say so. I went to all the games earlier with Fulham United and Rangers in 9 in a row. He's got that type of. He's got that type of the balance and the way the way he moves his feet. That's what I've seen. Right, that's what I've seen. Right, when you come back through the loud drops and the Gascoignes.
Listen, Stuart might be right, and in 15 years' time, we can phone back up and say, "I called it first. I said it before everyone else." It's good to dream big and all that stuff, but that's just really big. Was he not at the Euro draw last night?
Yeah, drew Scotland out.
And right at that moment, someone played that dodgy audio noise in the background.
It's the way the lad runs with the ball. Laudrup was a great carrier of the ball.
So you're seeing it then. You're seeing the comparison.
Laudrup was 6'2", graceful. You know, he glided across the pitch, balance, and I think, I mean, all due respect, McCausland's wee tricky winger. You could maybe compare him with some other little small dribbly wingers, but not
Lionel Messi or something. Then
I'm not saying.
I'm not putting any comparison.
There's a touch of the Maradonas about Todd Cantwell.
And what about Todd Cantwell? Now that Hugh mentions him, Stuart, how important was that outcome today? You know, playing and contributing for him.
100%. The manager was correct. He did dive. It was a stupid what he done. He took him off. I watched the game all night and he's going to take Cantwell off. I just don't know why. He learned his lesson. He had a brilliant game today. But the most important thing today, look at the weather today and how many fans were at Ibrox today. 47,000 people were at that game today, and that was freezing temperatures. That just shows you. That they're backing the manager, they're backing the team to try and move on to see what's going to happen. I think it's going to get down to 2-0 for them games. The way I watched the Celtic game, the first half Celtic were hardly in it. They couldn't pass the ball. They couldn't even get even the goalkeeper. The last couple of games he's been terrible. It's going to get down to the last 0. It could possibly get down to the last 0 for them. Can you imagine that?
Oh, can you imagine? Well, I suppose both teams were pretty poor first half today. But yeah, we're only a couple of weeks away, Hugh. The funny thing is, on the calendar we're not far away, but in fixtures we actually are, because we've got so many games to go before then.
Yeah, each has 5 league games to play, and there will be more twists and turns in the story before Rangers get to Celtic Park. I think the nightmare for the Celtic fans would be if Rangers came to Celtic Park and if they went top of the league. But by the same token, Rangers might be the one to falter, and by the time they get to Celtic Park, Celtic, if they win, might be a stick-on for the league. So a lot of games, 5 games each before they get their hands on each other.
Well, thank you to Stuart. Robert is on Twitter. Just heading back from the game, Cantwell was different class. His pass for the second was beautiful. Sima is an enigma. His first touch is worse than mine, and trust me, that's bad. Then he pops up with 2 finishes. Good game, happy with the 3 points.
Well, a touch of the Alan McCoy about Sima, of course,
Well, we went from Laudrup, McCoy's now we went Sima McCoy's. We're getting carried away.
I think that was the joke. Thanks for waking up, joining us.
Hugh, sorry,
honestly, Hugh, wasted
just
on him.
A wee touch sarcasm from Mr. Keevins. I've never been known to.
He's on his phone to online banking to see how much he's getting for this afternoon.
No, do you know what? I think it will be ordering his dinner.
Exactly.
I think it's a just eat.
Exactly.
Get it scheduled 6:30.
Oh yeah, 6:30 on the dot. I'm at the front door.
What are you going for?
I'm going Chinese tonight.
And you were saying there about going back to the team there in the midfield, which was very expansive, if you want to say that, from Rangers, in terms of almost playing like a front 5 at times. So do you think they'll go like that to Tynecastle? During the week, do you think they'll go? I mean, Tynecastle is again a wee bit like Pittodrie, notoriously difficult place to go with the atmosphere.
You're right. If you look at Philippe Clement's time, he tends to always play the 2 holding midfielders, if you like, or maybe Tom Lawrence just has to go and do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see though if he does go with the 2 wingers, striker, and 2 supporting players with 1 holding midfielder, because it can work in Hearts. I guess would expect, in the form they're in as well, to take the game to Rangers, but this will be Philippe Clement's, I think, first experience of Tynecastle. I'm pretty sure that is a different atmosphere there, particularly in a floodlit winter's night.
Because without spoiling too much, we will hear from Philippe Clement, but Ryan Jack, he says he'll be back soon, so presumably not midweek. And Raskin's injury is not progressing well, and Jose Cifuentes, I don't think is exciting the Rangers fans. So there will be a big decision to be made there midweek.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he could tweak. I mean, I think he'll probably start with Danilo again in that side of it. Whether he starts with Matondo and rests young McCausland, who knows? But in terms of the midfield, he maybe doesn't have as many options in that particular situation. So, looking at the players he has at his disposal, you would probably think it'd be more likely to go with the same again there.
We won't be far away from hearing from Philippe Clement. We'll tell you what he had to say on the game, those injuries and everything else in between. Let's hear from Brendan Rodgers. I'll remind you of the earlier clip just because I think it's worth listening to. It's strong stuff from the Celtic manager.
Yeah, I'm still angry, if I'm honest. The first half was nowhere near what you expect from a Celtic player and team. Just level of intensity and ambition in the game and speed, and absolutely nowhere near it. Got bullied for the goal, and we're soft in everything, with and without the ball. Half time is the angriest I've ever been as a manager. People who've been around me will know me that I'm normally very calm, and so it's nothing tactical. This was about the desire and what it takes to play for this club. And thankfully, second half, the players were brilliant. Callum McGregor was outstanding second half, and then I got more the energy and ambition that I want.
So clearly not happy there with what he witnessed in the first half. We did bring you that earlier on, but I thought it was worth hearing again. What about his take on McGregor and O'Reilly in particular?
It was retro Callum McGregor for me from my first time. He scored great goals like that, left foot, right foot, and obviously he's not up there so much because he's orchestrating the game from behind, but he was the real catalyst. I was watching him in the second half, and that was a Celtic captain's performance, dragging your team through the game with intensity and quality, and I thought he was brilliant. But great strike. Matty's was a very good, an outstanding goal. Got to say, he's hit a couple of them, his right foot, but there won't be too many better than that he'll hit. It was a great move, got up the field, and it got us into a good position in the game.
To state the obvious, if you have good players, they can do good things. You know, they might not be having certain moments, but a certain level in the first half, but they both came up with big moments, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, he used the word retro. He's gone retro because for the most part he's got no confidence in those who are on the bench, and McGregor has ultimately come through for him. The equalising goal is always the important one. It sets the tone. The Matt O'Reilly goal is out of this world. And James Forrest, I repeat, clears the ball in his own penalty area, runs the length of the pitch into the St Johnstone penalty area and scores the goal to make it 3-1. So the retro brigade, including Mikey Johnson, who come on as a sub, the retros have done it for Celtic today.
Now let's bring in John, who is a Celtic fan. How are you, John?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you all?
All good, all good. What are you thinking?
I was just listening to the last call there, and he was talking about it might go down to the last derby game of the season to see who wins the league. My curiosity is the fact that Celtic went to Govan and they won 3 points for, to be honest, a makeshift team at the start of the season. Obviously there's games to go and there is a lot of games to be played, but to honestly think that it might go down to the last game of the season, is that kind of a far cry?
I think you can't take a match from the 30th of August, and Celtic were
3rd of September, just in case anyone picks you up. I don't care whether you're a couple of days out, but you know what'll happen.
3rd of September, and say that therefore, because Celtic won with an understrength team, that's the league finished. That's clearly not the case.
Oh, I think John, I'm not saying John's right, but John's just saying like the last game he felt was Rangers' kind of chance to do it. That one was at Ibrox. Celtic maybe had issues, and this time this one's at Celtic Park. Doesn't think it's going to go that far. The only thing, Jim and Gordon, is yes, Celtic were, it depends what word you want to use, right? Because at the time we were saying, oh, look at this, it's makeshift because of Lagerbielke and Scales.
Yeah.
But Scales is now not considered makeshift. So when this one comes around, he'll play. Lagerbielke won't. Now there were moments in the games because the fullbacks had to come off, but Johnson and Taylor did start. And up front it was Abada, Maeda and Kyogo, McGregor, O'Reilly. So it wasn't ideal, but they weren't playing like a bunch of dumplings from
no, I also think that listen, John, there's no point in referring back to September then, because it's immaterial. There's different players involved, there's different managers at Rangers. If you're a Celtic fan, focus on Celtic, and if Celtic keep winning games, they've got that cushion with no Rangers with games in hand. But the bottom line is to keep winning games. It doesn't matter what Rangers does. You put the pressure on Rangers having to follow all the time and not drop any more points. Today's games, both teams underperformed at times, but ultimately come up with the goods with that little bit extra quality that they've both got in the final third.
If the game was that predictable,
that's hypothetical, isn't it? What happens in months'
Celtic wouldn't have drawn 0-0 with St Johnstone at Celtic Park. If the game was that simple, Celtic wouldn't have drawn 1-1 with Motherwell at Celtic Park. Celtic have 5 league games to play before they play Rangers. They need to be aware of pitfalls, and that applies to Rangers as well, because you can look at both of them and you cannot say with all certainty, oh yeah, they'll win all those games.
I think you're right here. I think the Old Firm games will be certainly important. Of course they will be. But I think along the way the two teams are going about their business, I think there'll be points dropped.
Here's one then. Do
their games?
None of them make it to the Old Firm game with 100% record from here?
Five
I
games.
think there are points to be dropped here somewhere.
By both.
By both?
Yeah.
Both for you? So Rangers go to Tynecastle, Dundee at home. This is just the league games. St Johnstone at home, Motherwell away, County at home.
Tynecastle's the hardest one. If they get through that I think they'll win them all.
Celtic have got Hibs, Killie, Hearts, Livy and Dundee.
I think Celtic will win them all.
Oh, there we go then. Jim thinks it will happen. John, what did you make of the game today? Brendan Rodgers clearly wasn't happy with the first half, but quite a turnaround in the second.
Well, it was a very hard watch, but at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. My honest opinion, which I was trying to put across, the last caller was talking about it might come down to the last
of the season.
I'm not talking about like before now and then. Like Celtic Rangers may drop points. Yes, okay, that's fine. But what I'm meaning is, like Celtic went to Govan. They won the game. And now the game is coming up. Obviously, it's Celtic Park. So to be honest, the thing about it's maybe only 4 games, I don't think so, because obviously everybody's got to drop points.
Well, we will see. It's going to be an interesting run up to that first one, and then we deal with the second one. Then we deal with the one after that, and the one after that, and we'll take it from there. Philippe Clement, I'm sure, has some interesting things to say about the game against St Mirren, and you will hear them right here next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Why call your insurance? Let Robert take away the hassle. After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Into the final part of today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Hugh Keevins, Gordon Dalziel and Jim Duffy are here, and they're asking for you to get in touch on the phones or on Twitter at Clyde SSB. Let's hear from Philippe Clement. This is what he had to say on Todd Cantwell in particular after today's game.
We talked about the game on Thursday, and he agreed that he was not doing what he should do. He was frustrated about himself also and his performance on Thursday. So this is the direction that I want to see. I know this is a better position for him, but we need to look also to circumstances with all the injuries. And on the right side, we didn't have many players available. He did a good job there also. Don't forget this. Against Sparta Prague, he was one of the best players. And he knows that, so he stays available also to play on the right side or on the left side or in the center.
Is that issue put to bed, or does Todd Cantwell still have a bit more to do before we stop analysing that?
Just listen to the manager there. I think the will, he knows that Todd Cantwell, I think, like everyone else, best positions in that number 10, getting on the ball, creating things, making things happen. That ball through to Sima today. But I think he's also spelling it out to Todd Cantwell. There may be some games you will just have to sacrifice that and go and do a job for the team the right hand side. If you're not prepared to do it, I'll do the exact same thing. I'll take you off and you can sit behind me and watch.
I think there's far too much spoken about Cantwell. He's just another Rangers player, and the manager has said there were circumstances, and I needed him to do a job under those circumstances. The circumstances being injury and lack of a wide player.
Yeah.
Now, Cantwell didn't do what he was told, and the manager had enough and took him off. Now he's come back today, he's had a good game and had 2 assists. He needs to get on with life, and he's part of a squad and part of a team, and it's not all about number 13.
No, but it's natural. It's the first game he's been brought back. Todd Cantwell was Philippe Clement was going to be asked. We were going to hear his answer. We were then going to discuss it. I don't think anyone's saying it has to rumble on forever.
Yeah, of course.
We just emphasised the team as a priority and not the individual. And I think Todd Cantwell understands that. And I think the next time, if he is asked to play in a certain position, you'll see a much better performance from him.
Yeah, I totally agree with Jim there. I think the manager's just spelled it out. Look, it's my way. End of story. I make the decisions. You fit into the team. Yes, sometimes, like everybody else, you're not going to be happy in a certain position. I might ask you to do a different job. Look, he's recognised he's a top manager. He knows where Cantwell's best position is. Let's not be kidded here. But sometimes, as he said against Sparta, he done a terrific job. Asked him to do that job on the right hand side. He achieved that. But I just think what he's doing is spelling it out to the player. Listen, this is the way it's going to be. And I think Todd Cantwell, give him credit, I think he's sat down, he's listened to the manager, and he's responded in the right way.
This is what he had to say on the other player who had even more of an impact today, Abdallah Sima.
I spoke with Abda last couple of days also about being hungry to be in the box and to score himself. It's a really nice boy, really nice lad. He's sometimes not egoistic enough for me to be decisive himself. He wants to give the last pass, or he looks at the others before he shoots himself. So I'm really happy that he scored the 2 goals now, and 2 really good goals. And with his pace and his power, he can hurt a lot, and that's what I want to see the next couple of months.
Yeah, because in a weird way, Rangers have got better since Philippe Clement came in, but Abdallah Sima's goals had dried up.
Yeah.
It was a weird reverse that happened there, so you can understand why the manager is pleased to see him return to the goal scoring form today.
Yeah, I think his every word tells you that he rates Sima, and I'd be interested to know the conversations that Clement is having with those behind the scenes at Ibrox about the possibility of asking Brighton if there's a permanent deal, or is he a one-season wonder. But he always lets you know how he feels about players, Philippe Clement, and Sima is someone he clearly rates.
Very easy to sum up that for me. He's telling the player, be selfish, be greedy, get in there,
right on your street.
100%. I love him. I'd like to have played under him. Don't change fullbacks, Gordon. Stay in the box, score goals. You're my man. You're my manager.
It's man management. We've said, Gordon, about getting to know your players. He said he had a word with Todd Cantwell, and he said a word with Sima. He's not just putting training sessions on and telling players through the training session. He's getting them into his office. He's sitting down 1v1. He's allowing the players to give their views, but ultimately he's saying, well, I'm the manager, this is what I want, and if you do this, you'll be in the team. If you don't do it, you'll be on the bench. So to me, that's strong management, but good management.
And finally, on the injury front, cup final coming up as well, there was a bit of an update.
Ryan Jack will not be so long. Nicolas Raskin will have a new assessment in the beginning of the week because his rehab is not going well. So I'm not so happy about that, but it's the way it is. So we need to find other solutions than for the moment. I think the chance is really small for the moment, how I see it. but I'm not a doctor. I'm not, and I'm for sure not a specialist or a professor in those things. So we're gonna go to the best people to find the best and the fastest solution for him.
We all know every team gets injuries, that's football, etc, etc. There does seem to be something about Rangers injuries though, in that they always seem to end up worse than first feared. What is I know Philippe Clement spoke a lot about it when he first came in, and I'm looking at you three as if you're going to be able to give me some medical explanation when I know that you can't. But it does seem that way. You get the initial injury and they never make it back in time. That's the way it feels this season.
He was more candid there than managers usually are about these things.
He is with that stuff though. Remember when he first came in, he spoke about being really into the sort of injury prevention and rehabilitation stuff.
And if he needs to be seen by a specialist, then clearly the road back is going to be a long one. But if the manager can't tell you why they start off at a certain level and worsen, then he's only being honest, because he needs a medical prognosis, and all we can deal in is speculation. But as I say, he's very candid, whether it's about the players he rates, the players he doesn't rate, injuries. He gives you a straightforward answer to a straight question.
Yeah, as a manager, you're looking to see what players can be available to you to play in the system that you prefer to play. If you've not got Raskin, you've not got Jack, you've not got Camille Roof, you've maybe not got one or two other players, whatever, then you're restricted in trying to build something, Gordon. So you have to make sure that you get those players available for the vast majority of games. Listen, anybody can pick up an injury, we understand that, but if these are repetitive or longer, as you mentioned, than first expected, then that's damaging for the manager's progression. He then has to look at the situation in January to say, we need to bring players in here who are ready and fit to play competitive football on a regular basis. We can't be bringing players in who are maybe carrying injuries or have had missed a lot of previous games, as has happened in the past. So I think it's more to do with our research on signing players, and I think that's something that Rangers have to do a lot better.
Going to be interesting to see what this busy period looks like then, Gordon. Does Jose Cifuentes, he trying to make that work in there? Ryan Jack eventually comes back. Those would be the like for like in that area. Or is it, chance to be a bit more adventurous like today with Tom Lawrence?
I think Tom Lawrence brings a lot to the party. I like him. I think he's a good creative player. I think he's
deeper though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think he's a good. Cifuentes hasn't really hit the ground running for me. You see him sometimes and think, yeah, there's something there, and then disappears a little bit. The one thing I think he's got just now, if he gets people back fit, a little bit of competition for places. I think that you look at Cantwell, will probably be a stick on now most games in that position, because that's his best position. Lammers will need to fight. Dessers today, I don't think he does himself any good. Danilo comes off the bench. Matondo's back there. McCausland's just appeared and now looks like he's a stick on to play most of the games and the big games, and rightly so, because I think the boy's so talented. So I think getting to January he'll be okay, but I'm really interested to see what this type of player that this manager's got to bring to Rangers in January.
Well, I think that is nearly that. Sum up today's football, Hugh. You've got a bit of time. It doesn't need to be a speed dating version of it.
No, Celtic got there in the end, and with 3 magnificent goals at McDiarmid Park. But the manager's reaction, questioning their attitude, called them soft, said they were bullied at the St Johnstone goal, questioned their ambition and intensity level. That cannot be dismissed simply because the second half was better than the first. So Celtic have work to do. Rangers were on the verge of getting another half-time reception of the negative kind from their supporters until Abdallah Sima scored right at the end, and that changed the whole complexion of the afternoon inside Ibrox. He then scored an even better goal to make it 2-0, and Rangers got there in the end like Celtic. They both roll on now to Wednesday night. Celtic at home to Hibs. That won't be easy because they've had a good 2-0 win over Aberdeen today. Rangers go to Hearts, and the Tynecastle side have now won 4 games in a row. That hasn't happened for a long time to Hearts. Aberdeen remain third bottom of the league, and on Wednesday night at home to Kilmarnock, they really need to get going in a more positive direction. So very interesting afternoon, but neither the Rangers manager nor the Celtic manager are trying to kid you that they have two outstanding teams in their hands.
Rangers played 9 times in December, 8 more to go, Gordon. Celtic with 1 game fewer, across different competitions of course, but what we know today in very simple terms, nothing changed at the top. It's as you were.
Yeah, Celtic threw down the gauntlet, Rangers picked it up and responded, and you wouldn't say the 2 games, if you look at them and analyse them, first halves weren't that particularly great, especially Celtic. I thought they were poor. Second half deserved to win the game. They bossed the game. Rangers got the goal at the right time, let's be honest here, because I think there'd have been a different atmosphere if that whistle would have went 0-0, St Mirren the players walking down that tunnel. So job done, 3 points each, and well done to Hibs. Terrific result today.
Yes, and we move on to a new week on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The festive period is well underway. I think the fixture, certainly it is busier than ever. We'll reflect on everything that happened this weekend tomorrow, and then straight back onto the midweek fixtures as well. So good win in the end for Celtic, some terrific goals and a 3-1 victory at St Johnstone. A bit straightforward on the scoreboard for Rangers. Certainly got going eventually and won 2-0 against St Mirren, and Hibs beating Aberdeen at home. That adds to yesterday's drama at Fir Park, Hearts winning at Kilmarnock. There was a Euro 2024 draw in there as well. Scotland in a group with hosts Germany, Hungary and Switzerland. So plenty to look back on tomorrow in the company of Roger Hanna and Andy Halliday. But in the meantime, we will say our goodbyes. We'll speak to you at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and the Hits UK chart with Fleuriste is up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Run a fleet of vehicles, let Robert manage them whatever the accident.
Ding dong, maverick on high, magic mic bells are ringing. Ding dong, Shazam in the sky, and Spider-Man is swinging.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 2 free View Cinema tickets a month and Paramount Plus. Sky Cinema.
10 movies made Christmas.
That's good value.
Sky TV contract and Paramount Plus setup required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.